Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream. Today it's the 9th of February 2020, coming in from Edinburgh, and we're about to go into some quite interesting conditions. Right now in the UK, we have Storm Ciara causing widespread disruption. I think actually it's calmed down a little bit now, but I've been looking throughout the day. A lot of people have been messaging on the Discord saying, have a look at this flight. Some of my mates who have actually been flying today have said, yeah, it's been pretty much carnage. Widespread disruption over the UK. I can't actually remember seeing such a large area affected by the winds, all the way from northern Scotland down to the south, northern coast of Europe. I've seen some insane diversions, some people were telling me as well. What was it? There was an EasyJet that went from Geneva to Birmingham and then back to Geneva again after two missed approaches. I don't know how much fuel he had. Their aircraft going all the way off island, essentially. So we're going to discuss some of those kind of operational impacts today. So the sectors I've chosen are reasonably challenging. To be fair, actually, right now in Edinburgh, the weather's improved. It's winds down the runway around 20 knots, clear skies, but we're going to Leeds. Leeds, well known for being difficult as it is, but right now it's calmed down a little bit, but it's still gusting 32 knots across, which is just within limits to get in there. And then we'll try and get into Heathrow as well later on, where the wind is still gusting, I think up to 35 knots or so. But yeah, it's definitely calmed down. I think it was a bit more challenging if I turned live weather on -5 hours, but we're going to try it anyway. The sim is running -12 hours lifetime, so it's 8 o'clock in the morning in the sim, so we'll be able to see everything that's going on nonetheless. So thank you very much to everyone that's turned up so far. We've got Adam Link saying it was up to 40-mile-an-hour winds in Leeds there. I think it was even stronger than that. Stuart Walsh says, please don't advertise your own channels. That's very rude. Absolutely agree with you there. Good evening, people, says Jordan Hollywood. Good evening, Captain, says Jordan Woodruff. KPS says good evening as well. Lots of people here. We've got 440 people watching. Insane amount already. Yeah. But yeah, I'm very happy not to be flying today, and I have to give credit to my colleagues and my anyone that's out there flying and air traffic control. It would have been extremely challenging. Actually, a good friend of mine who's been a captain for around 15 years, he said to me he cannot remember a time when there was such a wide area in the UK having such awful weather. Anyway, here we are on the ZIBO mod. It's a pre-release version from ZIBO. I think we're on 339.18. He'll release it after the stream. I'm not sure what's happened because I've basically not tested it since the last stream. I've been pretty busy outside of streaming. And we're in Edinburgh. Sceneries from Orbex, as you can see, it looks really, really nice. We're on stand 1, completely cold and dark. We're offline on VATSIM, obviously, for you know who watch these streams quite a bit. We're staying off the network just for the short to medium term due to continuous issues, and of course we have our alpaca-themed aircraft. Now, for some reason, I have no idea why Project Fly. It's working in the background, but it just won't show the overlay. I've tried fiddling around with it for the last 10 minutes prior to stream, but it just doesn't show up for some reason. I've absolutely no idea why. Alan Davis is coming with a £2 donation. Thank you very much for the tip there. And he's saying, looking forward to a great stream. Well, we'll see what happens. The weather's within limits. There are some limitations in desktop simulators, but I will, to the closest bound of effort I can, follow my operator's SOPs, the rules, limitations. So if the wind is over limits, we'll go around, try a second approach, but we're going to take lots of gas today to allow for a lot of holding, a lot of go-arounds. But we'll see what happens. We might get lucky. I always want a bit of luck during my live streams. Right, let's get things started anyway. Batteries on, GPUs on the bus, electric hydraulic pumps we can pop on now. Usually do that a bit later, but that's all set. We'll check all the aircraft library documentation. Love these light effects on here with this kind of low sun, with the sunrise coming in the simulator. That's looking quite cool. Let's go down here. Check the extinguisher bottles, fault test. We've got the APU detector inoperative fault. Master caution overheat detector. Thank you very much to Nigel Newsom, who's just joined as a member. Glad you're enjoying the content, and welcome to the channel as a member. I hope you enjoy all the exclusive content that you will so forth receive. Thank you very much. Right, emergency exits on, fasten seatbelt sign is on. We'll put the lights to steady. I've actually lowered the bitrate on my stream now. I've realised I had it far too high. So if you've been watching the last couple of streams with the issues being with the stream dropping out, it should be completely fine now. I've lowered the bitrate, so you can at least watch it in 720, maybe 1080p or so. But let me know if there's any issues with the quality as per usual. Right, we did that. What we've got left to do? Cargo fire test. So Forward aft discharge, no detector fault light, and we've got the fire bell. This has been so good for me because I'm off work for 3 months with my contract, so I can keep up with the flows and the checks. Practicing in the mod is really, really good for that. Let's turn up the brightness here. Manual gear extensions closed and locked. Check the circuit breakers, spare bowls, emergency escape rope is good. Mac airspeed warning test. Check the flight recorder. We need to wait a little bit longer for the stall warning test. Let's switch this to nav. It's going to be 9 minutes up here. Circuit breakers, I check that side. Escape rope. Aircraft library. Maintenance tech log we check as well. That'll be my role as the captain. Perfect. So let's start the flight leg, get the boarding underway. Thank you very much, Dominic Orsini, for the donation, $2. Good afternoon, Captain. He says, best of luck. We'll definitely need some luck there. And if there's any moderators there who could do their best to get rid of whatever spam is going on in the chat at the moment, that would be brilliant. Right, so let's have a look at the flight plan weight and balance as well. So let's have a look here. So it's short flight from Edinburgh to Leeds, flight time of 43 minutes. You can see, look, standard fuel, just 4 tons is required. No way I'm taking just 4 tons today. We'll need a little bit more, that's for sure. I'm going to be sticking on, I reckon, a couple of hours of extra fuel here. Really, because the disruption is so widespread, you want to be able to get off airport, off island. Now, we have Manchester as a flight plan, but if the whole of the UK is looking pretty poor, we'd probably plan at the planning stage an alternate that's off island. Now, to be fair, the weather has improved quite a bit, so I am happy to make Manchester the alternate because the wind is pretty much down the runway at the moment. But we'll definitely take a lot of extra fuel today. I reckon, yeah, 3 tons on top of that. That's going to be a good hour, 30 minutes of thinking time and enough to get to the south, but at least could hold a couple of approaches there. So let's whack on 6 tons, probably what I'd put on today. But I go into a lot more detail regards to the planning stage. Make sure we have an alternate where I definitely know the weather is completely fine, which it should be in Manchester. So let's go to fuel. Let's put on 6 tons, enter that. Thank you very much to David Larsson for the donation there. 100 Swedish krona, duct taped into seat 15C, eating done, bathroom done, fingers crossed. I hope you got this sick bag in the rear seat pocket in front of you, David. Thank you very much for the donation there. Again, for your continued support, I do appreciate that indeed. Yes, it might be a little bit turbulent today, that's for sure. Cool, so we're basing the load today off 150 passengers. Of course, now in the ZIBO mod, all we have to do is put this 150 packs, enter, and we'll imagine there's no checked-in bags just for the ease of the calculation there. We've distributed the passengers accordingly, and that's I work backwards now with SimBrief. I take the figure here for the zero fuel weight now, which you'll find is 55.8, and when I complete SimBrief, that's the figure I punch in for the calculation to us, and that's the way I work now with SimBrief there. So that is all loaded. We now need to get the aircraft fueled, so if we go to ground services and call for the fuel truck, they should be uploading our 6 tons of fuel. There we are. So he's obviously not too fussed about the strong winds, but of course it's not too bad here in Edinburgh. He'd probably want to be chained down today. Right, so where would we be normally? Right, the pre-flight setup. So right now in Edinburgh, QNH, very low pressure with Storm Ciara, driving in lots of school lines and fronts coming in over the UK today. So it's 968, the minimum flat retraction altitude for departure. There's some obstacles, I think, for runway 24. It's a little bit higher than usual. It's actually 1,910 feet. And again, remember, guys, that's the height at which we'd accelerate if we had an engine failure. We'd climb up, there's no emergency turning, so we'd climb up to this height and then accelerate and retract the flaps if the engine had failed. Right, we'll pop on the terrain and airport. That will switch to weather radar for departure, but pretty much everything's set up down there. Let's now look at the flight plan. So we are in Edinburgh, Echo Golf Papa Hotel. Coordinates will take GPS left. Punch that in there, and we're going to Leeds, Bradford, which is Echo Golf November Mike. Our call sign is Alpaca 01, and departing runway 24, we're going to be flying a Tala 6 Charlie. Now, it does say on the chart it's a prop-only departure, or non-jet. I've operated out of Edinburgh a few times. I've definitely flown this SID, so I've never understood why it says no jets allowed, but we can definitely fly this SID for sure. Thank you very much, David B, again for another donation. Are you £5 you donated? Are you running a book on how much beach towels you can sell on a Storm stream, David? Well, crikey, thank you very much for the donation. No, I don't have a running tally of the beach towel sales list, but definitely not suitable beach towel weather here in the UK today. Who knows? We might get a few more purchased in time. But thank you very much again for the donation. Right, so from Tala. I'm going to go Yankee 962 Nateb. Now, someone did message me the other day saying if you put the airway in, it automatically generates the next waypoint. I just do it the way we do it at our operator, which is airway, waypoint, airway, waypoint. I know it can be done a little bit quicker, but or if it works, I have no idea of my operator's FMC, but I just follow our SOPs whenever I'm doing this. So arrival into Leeds, it's going to be runway 32 today. I think the current wind is 250 at what have I latest here, 30 gusting 37, so it's just about favouring runway 32, but not by much. And we're going to fly the procedural approach today. You typically get vectored, but all I'm going to do is after Gasco, route direct to Lima Bravo Alpha, and we'll fly the procedural approach runway 32. We'll activate that, execute, which will be done with the normal pre-flight checks with the first officer. Right, performance, we need 0 fuel weight 55.7, takeoff weight 60.6. Our reserves, we'll still base it off Manchester, so we need 2 tons to get there if we can't get into Leeds. We'll probably get there with a lot more fuel than that. We want to go right with 2 tons in these sort of weather conditions. Cost index of 30, which we'll punch in there. Thank you very much to Peely UK for the donation, £3. Good luck with the flight. Just got back from Heathrow and they look like they're having a fun landing. Also, does ZIBO simulate popped CBs? Well, thank you very much, Peely UK. Yes, I think Heathrow is where we're going to be going later. Still has quite strong winds. A lot of disruption there earlier today. If someone told me that Emirates diverted all the way to was it Munich, or there was some British Airways aircraft diverting to Munich, so pretty crazy. Peely UK also does the ZIBO mod simulate pop seabays? It doesn't. It'd be quite difficult to model all that, but there's no need for it really in a desktop simulator either. But the full motion level D sim, that does model all the most of the circuit breakers, I think. Cool, so we're going to be cruising up to 270, which we'll put in there. Execute, thank you very much as well for Brando Magnani. Hello, Flight Deck to Sim. I just wish to thank you for your brilliant live streams and tutorials. Keep up the awesome work. Greetings from Milano, Brando. Well, ciao to you. Thank you very much for the donation. I hope you're having much fairer weather in Milano than we are in the UK today, that's for sure. Awesome, Milano. Thank you very much for the donation. Right, so top of climb wind. No, I don't need to zoom in just yet. I'm not quite old enough to have to zoom in like that. Let's take a look at the top of climb. It's 272 at 51. I think that's definitely died down a little bit. It was crazy winds today. Top of climb ISO is going to be -5. Now the weather here is actually all right. There is an option in the OPT to select a wind shear if it's particularly strong, but it's only a 17 knot headwind here. So the it's allowing us to take 22k from the intersection of Charlie full, so we'll leave that there. And we're going to have wet speeds for flap 5, showing 29, 36, 43. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll be with you very shortly. 29, 36, 43, 27. So we select 129, 13, 5, that's within a knot, and 143. The Boeing OPT for the ZIBO mod's in development for takeoff, but I think it is complete for landing at the moment, which is quite cool. Right, just get the trim in, guys, and I'll say thank you very much. I don't know if that's linked the stab trim with the ZIBO mod, which would be pretty cool if it has done. Is this working, ZIBO? Let me just try. I'm going to try and see if this works in a second. I have no idea. I'm just going to say thanks to the guys who donated a miss there. Thank you very much. It was Russell Campbell, £5. Mad Day Friday with Windcheck chat for link. Definitely worth a look. Thank you very much, Russell. I probably missed the link, but it hasn't shown up in the video description though. Blind Eye 1955. Thank you very much. €5.49. VSD just kidding. Greetings from Fuerteventura. I'm guessing you want the VSD on for the approach, but I don't like having that on as pilot flying, especially in weather like this. Tom Knudsen got my free Stripe membership today. Excellent, congratulations. Nice flight, Captain Tom. How long have you been a member now? I have no idea. It comes up on here if I highlight your name, but congratulations nonetheless. I'm sure that 4th Stripe's going on with your annual membership coming very soon. Cool, guys. Yes, if you're asking general questions in the chat, please bear with me. I will have a little bit of time in this short flight in the cruise to answer any queries, but we'll just crack on with the setup now, as we are particularly busy. So yeah, what I wanted to check first, wasn't the OPT, was the payload. Yeah, that's really cool. It just links the CG 18.6 to this. Now, it was 6 units last time I flew. Is that actually working? I don't know if ZIBO's programmed this correctly. I haven't got the FCOM in front of me to convert the CG into trim, but I swear if this... Let me just put a different CG in and see if the trim changes. Oh, it does. Okay, fair enough. Or maybe it's just fluky or coincidental. It was 6 units last time we flew. But yeah, that should be correct. In my operator now, we take the Boeing OPT CG figure, punch it in, and we use this trim figure now as well. As long as it's in 0.25 units of the OPT, we can accept that. Right, we're all good here. We can set V2 142 knots. Happy days. And yes, was that working now in the ZIBO mod? I didn't ask him. The landing performance calculator, I think, is ready. Let's have a look here. Performance takeoff, runway 24, wet. Current wind is 250 at 17. Temperature is 5. QNH is 968. This might not work, guys. I have no idea. Takeoff weight is going to be 59. Take a bit of extra fuel. I'm just guesstimating this, guys. 62 tons. Just want to see if it works. No, it's still in development. Look, you can see I can't select a second page, but that is coming, guys. It is coming. Cool. So the OPT is all filled out, as is the flight plan. Just going to select legs here for the first officer. Let's go up here on the upper overhead panel. So your damper comes on. No fuel in the center tank. Fuel pumps on. Cabin utility IFE is on. Working way up here. Seatbelt sign is on because the aircraft is now fueled up. Window heat can come on. Diff pressure's all set to 0. If there was a difference, you'd have to query that. Trim air can come on. Packs are in auto. Cruising at... I can't remember what I said now. 27,000 feet. Elevation in Leeds. I'm just getting the plate up here on the second side. It is 681 feet, so we'll stick in 700 here. Absolutely no idea who's bought what. I need to be quick here. Peely UK, you've bought a mug. Excuse me, thank you very much. Unfortunately, the text is far too small for me to read on my single 17-inch, whatever this monitor is, tiny monitor. But thank you very much for purchasing the mug there. And also thank you very much to Petroni for donating €5. With this turbulence around, will be no chance for Passenger Escobar to get his special meal in one piece. Absolutely. Petroni, obviously referring to the fact that Passenger Escobar, who's always on the PAs causing issues, would get his meal all up his top due to the forecast turbulence today. Thank you very much, Petroni, for the donation. Right, so we've got 6,000 feet for the stop altitude. The runway heading here in Edinburgh is 241 degrees. We'll punch that to 25. And that is set. Our SID will brief it shortly. It's Thales 6 Charlie, climbing straight ahead to the NDB 368, so we'll bring that up on down here. That is there. We could select ADF and ADF. There we go. It's already identified as Uniform Whiskey. And then we're going to make a left turn on the 345 radial, so 165 inbound. So we're going to be 165 on the captain's side, and pop the flight directors on 2, and we're just going to put runway heading here just because of reasons. Auto brake to RTO or reset the fuel flow, even though it shouldn't say anything. Set the standby QNH up here. 9-6. Oh, that's because I've got the camera shake on. It's very hard to tune this. Crikey, look how many times I have to twiddle this. 968. Thank you very much to Yasser Halepion. Sorry if I've mispronounced that, buddy. £2 donation. Thank you very much. I bought 1 mug from you, but I got 2. Giddy up. Oh, Joseph, congratulations. That makes no difference to me, but I'm glad you got 2. If any of you get a bonus mug, you can't complain at all. Well, fantastic. I hope you're enjoying a many a brew out of your flight deck to see themed mug. Thank you very much for the donation as well. Cool. So order breaks to RTO. FMC's all set, trim we've set, and the rest is all looking good here. Oh yeah, just the Tala VOR 13.8, which we will put here on standby both sides. We'll just want to tune the ILS for departure 108.9 because the initial turn's based off a DME off the ILS for the SID. So we're going to go 108.9. Right. Let's catch a breather. At this stage then, I've done the pre-flight setup. Now would come all the briefings, so we discuss any of the issues such as threats. So actually Edinburgh, the weather isn't too bad here, guys, now. Winds down the runway 17 knots. Any pertinent threats associated with the airport too. We then do the route check, making sure the information is correct. Instrument cross-checks. Emergency briefings, what we do in the event of an engine fire, engine failure, the RTO actions, and the actions after departure with an engine failure. Taxi routing we'll do now. So we'll go to Avitab, charts. No, that's instinctive, isn't it? Avitab. Here we are in Edinburgh. Stand 1. We're going to push back to face north, taxi out via Echo, make a right turn. Now the performance calculation I've done is from Charlie, but we'll go full length today via Delta. And then the SID we're going to be flying is the Tala 6 Charlie for runway 24. You can see the transition altitude is set. It's a noise preferential, routing until 7 DME. Non-jet aircraft, that is a load of rubbish. I've flown this SID in a 737 a few times, no idea why it says that. Oh, you can see, it's actually different on the Jeppesen chart to my operators. Well, there you go. On my operator's SID chart, it doesn't mention this, does it? Or jet aircraft routing via Yankee 96. Well, it does actually. I've never actually noticed that on the tiny bit of text. But yes, we can actually fly this, but there are some SIDs I've flown where it does say non-jet aircraft, but we have flown it. Alright, but you're going to see what we're going to do is go straight overhead the NDB, and then we're going to be 7 DME. We'll make that left turn intercepting the 345 radial, that's 165 inbound to Tala, climbing to 6,000 feet, which is the stop altitude. And that's it, really. We've already done the performance in the OPT at my operator. We both have to individually do that, cross-check it, insert the FMC once we get our weight and balance document. So pretty much all good to go. We'll get the APU started, and whilst that's booting up, we'll get better pushback organised as well. Pre-plan, there we are. Oh, there's one I did earlier. That's weird, because I've not... That must have been when I last streamed here.
Cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
That is incredibly loud. Sorry if I've ruined anyone's ears there. Cool, so let's have a look at some of the... chat requests. Good, you've worked out how to use the METAR. You can see you got the Edinburgh METAR coming up here. Heathrow, I can see, is still gusting 32 knots according to Nightbot as well. I've no idea what it is in Leeds at the moment. As I said, we've taken at least an hour and 30 minutes of extra fuel today. Having a look at some other questions. Sandy, good evening to you all. Missed Friday stream, but this should be as good. Did I do a stream on Friday? I didn't do a stream on Friday. I did a stream on Thursday, but that was in the ZIBO mod as well. But yes, this one should be fun. Thanks, Az, for getting the METAR for Leeds. At the moment, 250 at 22, gusting 34. So that is just over limits, I think. I'm just punching that into my OPT, and I also have a crosswind conversion chart in front of me. 250 at the 34 knot gust. That is showing a crosswind of 32 knots. That's just in limits. My operator's crosswind for a dry wet runway is 33 knots. So yeah, it's it's right on there. This could be very dicey going into Leeds. Right, APU's on the bus. Oh, hold on, guys. Sorry for my lack of organisation here. I forgot to press request pushback. We'll never get on our way.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Miles Davis, good evening all. Been loving watching the planes today here in Manchester. I think everyone's been spoilt today. Yeah, I mean, if anyone could tell me of any crazy diversions they saw, I certainly saw a few. I mean, there was... I think there was an Emirates A380 or something. Someone said there was an aircraft that had a tail strike on takeoff out of Heathrow, a Qantas 787 or something, and I think they were holding immediately after departure. But yeah, there's been all sorts of disruption. This is where you earn your money. It's not easy flying in these conditions. You know, you can be very stressful, but you've got to be ahead of the game, have a plan, and always have a plan B. If I was flying today, I'd be looking at the weather and all the alternates, and I would only be satisfied if I had an alternate where I was, confident I could get into.
And hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So, you know, serious consideration given to diverting off the UK. So if I was flying, say, into London Heathrow, you know, I'd have an alternate of Frankfurt or something like that. You've got to find somewhere where you're confident, where when you divert, you know you can get into. But these conditions are very variable. A friend of mine today, he was flying. He got the ATIS. He said the wind was at 70 knots. They then spoke to tower. The wind was 40 knots in limits. Got on the approach, went to 60, and then he was on the approach, got down to the final wind. It was 26. It was extremely variable, very gusty. So it's a bit of luck of the draw as well. But not nice flying in these conditions at all. Just got to make sure you're doing everything properly, following the rules.
Connected and bypass pin inserted.
And you'll be grand.
Release parking brake.
Right. Hold your horses, buddy. So imagine we've got our pushback clearance. Yes, Alpaca 0 on pushback, face north. Packs off, anti-collision light is on. Parking brake we can remove. Transponder to out off. There we are. Checks are complete.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
What is that noise? Sounds like some sort of siren. I've never heard that before on any air bridge. Oh crikey, where are we going? Better push back. Right, we're on our way anyway. Chuck Cake Gatwick departure stopped at one point. Yeah, I can imagine they did. AP bleed on. Well spotted. I was just testing you. Thank you very much to Arcaday Ropia, who's just joined as a member. Welcome to the channel as a member. Glad you're enjoying the content, and I hope you enjoy all the exclusive members-only content. Right, so we're all looking good. So air conditioning packs off, anti-collision light, we've got bleed air. Right, let's start now. Engine number 2. Nicholas, once you get back to work, remember, after takeoff checklist, 2 blues, 1 red, engine's dead. Exactly. Hopefully I'm going to jump into the sim with one of my friends prior to me getting back to work. Book one of them for a bit of, refamiliarisation, because it's obviously a multi-crew environment in real life, lots of checklists. And you can see I generally don't complete checklists during the sim. I just do the flows, which is extremely dangerous. You'd never do that in reality. Always complete the checklists where it's appropriate. 780 people watching. That is insane, guys. Thank you very much. And if you are enjoying the content, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. That gets it out to as many people as possible. I do appreciate that indeed. Maybe I should have tried that pushback, or this guy's definitely trading because we're well off well off the line here. All right.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Absolutely joking, aren't you? Right, parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
There's the ground. N2. Here comes oil pressure, N1 rotation. There we go. Perfect, light's gone out. Then we can disconnect. We'd only disconnect once we've got 2 good engine starts. But in the life of a desktop simulator, that is something you don't really have to worry about unless you program it so. Awesome. You could do that whilst reversing.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Perfect. Good stuff. I need to turn that volume down slightly, I think, for the old better pushback, otherwise it's going to deafen me over time. No idea which one of these it is. I'll have a play of it later. Right, well, imagine he's showing us the bypass pin. We can continue with the taxi, before taxi flow. So generators on, APU off, excuse me, start switch is continuous, propede is on, anti-ice, that's a point. I think the runway's wet in Edinburgh. The temperature's 5 degrees, so we will put the engine and wing anti-ice on. Auto off. That is all set. Flaps 5 for departure. And here comes the flight controls. Full forward, full back, left, centre, right, centre. Here comes the rudders. Full left, centre, full right, centre. Recall, blank lower DU, and then we would complete the before taxi checklist, which is just here. Red Chat, the poshest tug operator. Absolutely. Streaming Spoon, please use the alpaca call sign on Vatsim. That'd be quite a laugh. We have done Streaming Spoon, as you remember, you might have already noticed. With our group flights, we use the alpaca call sign on the last one there. Well, obviously, someone heard that Alpaca Airways is flying today because they've already sent the fire brigade out on standby. But anyway, parking brakes released. Turn off taxi, config check. There we are. No takeoff configuration warning horn. Let's get on our way. 35%. And we're going to taxi out here, Echo, right turn, Delta, full length for a runway 24. There's another thing I've noticed with the ZIBO mod. I took the thumbnail for this stream earlier in Leeds, just did a quick mental circuit, put it on final to take the screenshot there. But the ski effects are all broken on the ZIBO mod. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. So I've gone back to default explain weather effects or rain effects. It doesn't look quite as good as ski used to, but it's definitely not working. It was raining heavily in Leeds, and on the default explain 11 it showed the rain, but on the ski it wasn't there, or it was a bit broken, so I've gone back to default on that one. Right, what is the latest weather here? Obviously it only feeds the weather off the METARs. What is it with me and live streams at the moment and people cutting me up? Every single live stream, someone is cutting me up in typically a fuel truck. Unbelievable. Right, let's carry on our way anyway. Yes, latest weather is still showing on my METAR. It was 14 minutes ago, 250 at 15. So it's not bad here in Edinburgh at all. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so clear left and clear right, and then we'll make a right turn here. Norman Robinson, thank you very much for donation, $2. Have you considered upgrading to an ultra wide? I'm guessing you're referring to the screen there. Thank you very much, Norman. I'll answer that question shortly. I just want to say thank you very much to Love the Channel. Thanks for all the content over the last couple of years until will enjoy buying this mug. Wink. It came up in really big text. I was able to read that. Thank you very much to whoever that was for purchasing the mug, and I'm glad you've enjoyed all the content there. Indeed, that was very, very kind. So, yeah, sorry, to answer your question, Norman. The reason is, on my current desk, I have no space at all for a monitor. I have shelves on the side, and I can just squeeze in my tiny monitor. Now the good news is we're moving house in a few months time, and I'll have my own office, and I'll have a big desk. I'm planning to have a big desk, and I'm going to get two monitors. Probably won't get an ultra wide, but two decent monitors next to each other, one for Streamlabs, one for the stream, and then my laptop on the other side, and I'll be able to look at all the when someone donates, I'll be able to look at the comments and stuff. The thing is, when someone purchases some merchandise, which is very kind of them, I have to flick over to Streamlabs on my alt tab, and the preview screen for Streamlabs is tiny, so I can't read what it says on the top left there, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the reason. I'm looking forward to having a bigger monitor, that's for sure. Right, let's do the before takeoff checklist. So config we checked, flaps 5, green light, stab trim set for departure, 6 units set, takeoff briefing. The packs are in auto, the bleeds are on, the V-speeds are set for departure. The wet speeds 29, 35, 42 set. We're flying the Thales 6 Charlie. We're going to be climbing on runway heading 241 until we're over the Uniform Whiskey NDB. And then when this reads 7 DME, we'll make a left turn 165 inbound to the Tala VOR, which is on standby. Stop climb 6,000 feet, which is set here and on the FMC. NADP2, other threats, there's no issue with the wind here now, so it'll be a routine takeoff. And that's it. Well, imagine that's all complete. Cabin is secure. There we are, the before takeoff checklist is complete. Burley Aviation, when you do a config check, does the N1 naturally go so high, or would it take a while before it got to that point? Yes, it's a little bit quick in the ZIBO mod Burley. It's a little slow, the engine, to spool up from ground idle, or around 20%. So yeah, if I was to go up to 40, yeah, I think it takes around 8-10 seconds in the real aircraft. Probably not as long as that, about 5 to 8 seconds. But in the ZIBO mod, a little bit quicker. But there are some limitations in X-Plane and, well, default simulators, desktop simulators, that is, with regards to how that works. But otherwise, the spool up at the higher thrust regime above 50% N1 is quite realistic in the ZIBO mod. Yes, just Pano. Yes, I saw that little comment earlier regarding the fact that on the SID you can be a jet as long as you have a particular airway to fly after departure. Right, so one more update of the weather. Showing 250 at 15 knots, so we'll imagine we've got our takeoff clearance. We'll pop those on. Try not to bring it to a stop as we go around the corner. I'm cutting the corner slightly here as well. But it's quite difficult to do the first officer's actions whilst you're taxiing and streaming at the same time. Right, transfer to the TARA. LNAV. Perfect, so MCP is set, transponder TARA, strobe lights are on, landing lights are on, checklists are complete, we are cleared for takeoff. Thank you very much, Russell Campbell, for the donation. Super chatted £2. Check out Golf Bravo Romeo Lima Papa, Echo Golf Papa Echo. Is that, where's that? What airport is that? I have no idea. On YouTube. I'll have a look, Russell. I'll try and remember to post stream, but obviously they had something happen, otherwise you wouldn't be messaging. Thank you very much for the donation there. Right, so I'm just going to look at the weather at Leeds. Still 34, I think we'll get in at Leeds now, but had I streamed 2 hours before, I think I would have struggled. I've been pretty lucky, Inverness, alright, I'll take a look at A327 Inverness later. Okie dokie.
50,
on runway
40,
24.
30, 20.
Thank you
10.
very much, Tom. That's for the donation. Can you check transition level generation in FMC? I can do. It should default to whatever it is in this local area. What do you want it before? But 6,000, which is what it should be coming out of Edinburgh there. So that's all good. Thank you very much again, Tom, for the donation. Don't need to tip me every time to ask the question. I try and pick out the members' ones first. But thank you. Right, here we are, pointing in the right direction, all ready to go. Yeah, let's see how Storm Ciara is going to treat us on this stream. Right, so standard thrust levers up to 40% timing. That's all stabilised. Push toga, set takeoff thrust. Leave a 90.9. Light forward pressure on the control column. 910, takeoff thrust set indications normal. A little bit of left rudder coming in.
80 knots.
Checked. Release the forward pressure on the control column. Hand off the thrust lever.
Rotate.
Delayed rotation because they're wet speeds, and up we go.
Positive rate.
Gear up. And trim. A little bit of light turbulence, nothing too bad.
400.
And verify LNAV is engaged. Awesome stuff. Right, let's have a look back in here, and we can now bug up. We'll hand fly for a few more seconds. There's climb thrust, so yeah, go slowly pitches down. White bugs V2 plus 15, so we can select flaps 1. And there's flaps up. So that first term is uniform whiskey, then we should go over to 7 DME. It looks like it's cutting the corner there. I think that's how the waypoint's been generated by ZIBO. We should wait until getting exactly over that point before starting to turn at 7 DME. You can see the uniform whiskey NDB is tuned and identified. Right, we'll pop on the autopilot now. So command A. We've got flaps up, no light, so VNAV. We're climbing to an altitude, so we'll leave the QNH set, and we can now do the after takeoff checklist. Right, so air conditioning and pressurization. We've got a diff pressure of 1.7. That's 0 auto
50,
and all climbing. Thank you very much.
30,
Stand by. We can top the engine
20,
anti-ice off now,
10,
which I forgot was on. So air conditioning and pressurization is set, and we are going to hold on the QNH level off at 6,000 feet initially. So we'll just go vertical speed to let the aircraft accelerate to 250 knots. So yeah, we're going to probably turn a bit early here. Yeah, the ZIBO mod's actually behaving correctly. So you can see here, we have to wait until 7 DME until we turn, which it is doing, but it shouldn't depict this turn here. It should actually overshoot slightly and then turn back in. That's how it should look. Just going to go 1,000 feet per minute. We'll just level off at 6,000 briefly because I want to say thanks to the guys that donated. So the mod is behaving correctly. There's 7 DME and there's the left turn. There we are. That's good, and it would overshoot this in reality. That's completely normal. The only thing that's missing is this magenta line should overshoot it and then cut back in at the tango point. So that's otherwise all working correctly. Right, who did I miss during this takeoff roll? Tom Ludson, can you check transition level? I answered that already. Gary Field, thank you very much for the £3 donation. I flew ZIBO from East Midlands to Brussels this morning. Very scary. Good luck. I think, Gary, it's far better conditions now, to be fair, but thank you very much for the donation. And Norman Robinson, who super chatted $5. Have you also considered the Brunner Force feedback flight yokes for a more realistic flight experience? He asked with a curiosity smiley, I think that is. Norman, I'm more than happy with my joystick, if I'm perfectly honest. I know I could get a control column, but this one works completely fine for me. More than satisfied with the joystick. You know, I can feel the difference, obviously, between that and the control column, but the inputs I make on this are similar to what I'd expect as well. So you can already see here, guys, we are level at 6,000 feet. Look at this, we've got a 55 knot wind coming in from the west. It's incredible. Look, you see we're tracking and heading in this direction also. ZIBO's having a little bit of a wobbly, but I think it's a good time to continue the climb up to our cruise level,
50,
which I think
40,
was 270.
20, 10,
So that is now set VNAV, and we need to push out into vent because the restriction was in the FMC. Set standard, passing 7.2 for flight level 270. That's it. The after takeoff checklist is all complete. Tom, check transition level, not altitude, please. Well, the FMC will only show you the transition altitude on departure. On descent, it will show you the transition level. So, yeah, typically 1,000 feet above. But my operator, as you well know, I've already explained in the Discord a few times, we set the QNH whenever we've been cleared to an altitude. We set standard as soon as we've been cleared to a flight level. We don't wait until the actual physical transition altitude or transition level. Right, happy days. Look at that climb rate because we're quite light today. Only got 150 passengers on today. Oh, you want to look at the descent page, Tom? I've got you now. Flight level 60. I have absolutely no idea what it is in Leeds, so it should be around that anyway. Happy days. Right, matching the heading. There's flight level 100 for 270. Let's do the pre-cruise check. So fuel lights come off. AP's off. Pressurization is 4.0. Temperature set. So we can release the cabin crew. Always forget to do that in the mod. And, release the passengers. There we go. After takeoff checklist is complete. Blocker 4, where do you find Discord? Discord is for members only on my channel. It is a non-public public Discord. So I have no idea why Project Fly is still not working. It's 100% working in the background. It's tracking my flight. Streamlabs has the Project Fly overlay on. I've done the same thing every time, it's just not working. So unfortunately you can't see my flight details up there, which is a bit of a pain. ETA, so 9:17, so that's going to be around, well, I think that's got the full procedure in there, so yeah, around 20 past 9 in the evening, not long to go. I'm going to leave it with 4 tons, remember alternate Manchester was 2, so we've got a good, you know, 45 minutes to play with there. In hindsight, I would have even taken extra fuel on a day like this. I just ran it up by 3 tons, which worked out quite well. Looking, Martin, for Echo Golf November Mike. I think that's the ident for Leeds, not Echo November Golf Mike. You can see a very short cruise, so we won't waste too much time getting everything out ready for Leeds Bradford. So we're going to be coming in from the north. I think it's a Gasco arrival. They've only got one chart for Leeds arrivals. And then the approach is going to be ILS NDB ILS 32, so we're going to do the procedural approach. That's the one. And this is going to be shocking. Short runway, max crosswind. We can't use reverse and credit because we've got a crosswind over 15 knots, which is a specific operator SOP of ours. So it could be quite tight for the landing distance here. Could be fun. Lovely. Look at the ortho here as well, really nice. Jardin, in your airline, would you set your seatbelts to auto? Yes, unless I didn't do it there, but yeah, auto, when we want it off for that 10,000. Dak, in which order do you activate LNAV, VNAV and other autopilot related systems after takeoff? When do you switch from flying to hand to the autopilot? Dak, I think what you're referring to there is the kind of order of the automation, so always, well, if you're taking off an LNAV, VNAV already engaged, just engage the autopilot, simple as that. But if you're hand flying with everything off, it's always flight directors on first, roll mode, pitch mode, engage the autopilot, and then the auto throttle. That's the order we do things. Tim coming in with a £10 donation is what you owe me, bud. Thank you very much. For those of you who don't know Tim, it's been a long member of mine. He often has a bet with the landing rates calculated. If I lose the bet, I owe him the money, and I did transfer him all the money I owed him. I apparently paid him too much on all the bets he won, and he's actually returned the favour now. So thank you very much, Tim, for the donation there. Happy days. So let's already start thinking about setting this up, this approach up. I'd actually be handing over the control to the pilot monitoring at this stage, so we can get this information in. We could do that whilst we get up to 270, albeit very briefly. Let's go to the top of descent. Let's put in 200, 100 winds in, and we've got 264 at 56. Interesting to see how VNAV behaves itself, because it's quite strong winds till quite low to the ground as well. 270 at 50. It's probably not too far off the ground in Leeds. QNH right now in Leeds as well. It is. If my phone finishes refreshing. 30 minutes ago, 975 for the QNH in Leeds, Bradford. Oops, /975.
50, 40.
And that is executed. Thank you very much for the donation. One of one, £2. Any plans for virtual reality streams soon? Cheers. Thank you very much for the donation. One of one. No plans for VR, because I don't think, as a viewer, VR would be the best for you. Maybe an incredible experience for me, but for anyone watching, no, I'll be sticking to kind of this sort of desktop simulation. But no, thank you very much for the donation and the query nonetheless. Right, runway 32 /10. /4, that is all set. We're cruising at 27,000 feet today, so 27 times 3, see on the head, 81. That is set. Forecast winds are in fixed page legs. Right, let's have a little fiddle and play with this. So procedural approach, just make sure the routing is all correct. So we're going to go Gasco, direct to Leeds. Over the top, 3,000 feet or above. 3,000, 3,000. So I'm just going to put 3,000 feet or above here, so we do some sort of continuous CDA. Oh no, not flight level 300. Goodness no. There we are. And I just want to make sure prior to turning base and final, we've got the speed down to 180. We have, so actually we're going to be flying this procedure at 185 knots, which I think is the maximum speed we can fly it at anyway. Procedure restricted to max 185, so we need to be at flat 5 outbound from the NDB. Right, 402.5. I've got a funny feeling we might have already flown this approach during a stream. Oh, I don't think in the mod you can set to 0.5, but I think 402 will work fine. Right, ILS frequencies are 110.9. Checked. We'd usually use vertical speed to slow it down, but I'll just let it do its thing. Right, ILS frequency here in Leeds. I'm just getting the chart up on my iPad in front of me. 110.9. And we have the arrival, which I think comes in Gasco. There's no VO on the arrival, so what I'll do, I'll just put 12 on Pole Hill. Something nearby, isn't it? Right, and I believe the landing performance calculators are all complete now, including wet speed. So, runway 32, wet. Right, I'm just using the latest METAR update. Stuart Payne, just got your message. I know, I get a lot, don't I? It's unbelievable. Yeah, I've got a lot of these funny channels that seem to be coming in these days, offering some sort of illicit service. No idea what causes that. Right, 250, latest wind in Leeds, at 22 gusting 34. We have to use the gust to calculate the crosswind component. That is a 32 knot crosswind. The limit is 33. You cannot get any tighter than this. Unbelievable. Temperature is 6 degrees. This is going to be really tight as well if I think of Leeds, because we cannot use reverse credit. Wet runway reverse thrust will improve your landing performance, but because we've got a strong crosswind, we don't use reverse thrust credit because we have to anticipate actually cancelling reverse to maintain control of the aircraft on the rollout. Because if the aircraft starts drifting off the side, you want to stow the reversers, take your feet off the brakes briefly, use differential braking, get it back in line, then reselect reverse thrust. So we don't actually use any credit for that. What's QNH? It is 975. Let's work out our landing weight. Thank you very much, Nicholas Critchiner, who's just joined as a member. Appreciate all the support there, and welcome to the channel as a member. I'm glad you enjoyed the content, and I hope you enjoy all the exclusive members-only perks. Right, this reckon's going to burn 500 kilos of fuel. Our landing weight's going to be then 59.9. It's definitely going to have to be flat 40 in Leeds, even though it's a strong crosswind. Don't like to. Landing weight was... Sorry, what was it? 59.9. This is going to be tight, guys. So, reversers not available. We have to select that. Yeah, you can see it's okay. Now, this is quite interesting. If the runway is not dry, our OPT factors it by increases the landing distance required by 15% on a non-dry runway, which I don't think it has done here. I'm looking at my OPT in front of me, and I've just punched in 59.9, and it's showing that max manual braking is 1690 meters. Here it's showing 1625. So I think it's very close. I have to admit, this is really, really good. But yeah, you can see, look, order brake 3, order brake 2, forget it, you're off the other way, order brake 1's here. 3 you should stop, I think, because it's wet, because it's gusty. We might float a little bit. We'll go max manual braking. Let's stay safe. And if we land great and nice and early in the touchdown zone, we can just disengage the order brake anyway. And we'll try, if we can vacate at Alpha, happy days. If not, we've got to go to the end Echo, loop round off there. I think we should be able to make Alpha. Right, already at top of descent here. Unbelievable. Right, let's just stick it in flight level 120, and I'll give you a little bit of a quick briefing of everything here. So, big threats then. Weather right on limits of crosswind. If we have to go around, we'll have sufficient fuel, I think, for a second approach, unless the wind gets considerably better. We won't make a second approach if the wind gets worse or there's wind shear. If not, we'll go to Manchester. I can look at the latest weather in Manchester. Actually quite nice there at the moment. A few towering cumulus around, but nothing too bad. But otherwise, descent, arrival, very simple. Going to go Gasco right overhead the NDB. You typically get vectors in Leeds, but we'll just fly the NDB approach today, or the procedural NDB approach. We're going to go out down from the Beacon Category C aircraft, track of 154 until 9 DME. And you can see here, look, 154, India point 9.2. We're going to be doing less than 185 knots, and then we'll make a left turn back onto the localizer. So you can see here, you check all the track and... Oh, I'm having viewing issues here. Oh, why is my mouse stuck? There we are. So we could just... Oh, rest in peace. My frames are dropping. There we are. So you can see pictorially it looks good. We cross-check the tracks and distances, and we'd all be happy days there. Around the localizer we go, and then intercept the ILS. Thank you very much, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with everything here. Karim Blizzard, €5. Thank you very much, Captain. What makes you decide a different flap setting? Flap 40 on landing or 1 on takeoff? Enjoy as always. Oh, Karim, that's a big question to ask, but I'll try my best to answer as quickly as I can. Flap 40 for short runways generally. Flap 30 is the kind of default flap setting you want to have overall. For takeoff, flap 5 at my operator is the standard flap setting for departure. Flap 1 would be if you need improved climb performance, so there's an obstacle on departure. A higher flap setting like flap 25 would be a shorter runway. It's field length limited. So that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot more technical facts or performance facts that you take into account, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Right, anyway, as I said, outbound from the beacon, 154 left turn, intercept the localizer and the ILS. We should do a continuous descent, but we do capture at 3,000 down to the minimums, which for a category C aircraft 200 feet is going to be 862, which we need to punch in today, which we need to punch into here. That is all set. We preset the QNH in Leeds, which is 975. Very low pressure. And there we are. I think we're all done. We discussed the landing already. We'll try and vacate at Alpha, and we'll go from there. Right, that gives me about 10 minutes now to actually sit back for the first hour during this stream and have a little bit of relax and then answer some questions you might have. But yes, I hope it's all making sense, what the plan is. Keeping a close eye on the wind in Leeds right now. Refreshing my phone. Oh dear, I've just got an update. Wind now is 250 at 28, gusting 40. So let's use the OPT here actually. 250 at 40. That is over limits, unfortunately. So the maximum gust is 40 knots. That's giving us a crosswind of 37 knots. No good. We could obviously fly an approach, but we could not land in that wind. We'd have to go around. 33 knots is the magic number. I don't know how Active Sky works with the weather updates, if it just keeps the wind in there until the METAR changes, but METARs typically are only updated every 25-30 minutes, so we might be stuck at the max, above the max crosswind limit for the next 20 minutes in the sim. We'll see what happens. I might just have a go at the approach anyway. Alpaca Airways, we don't have any limitations. But plus, please rest assured, I would not dare attempt an approach and land if it was over a limit. But of course, in the desktop simulator, the world's your oyster. Bartos Bujak, what is this mod? Is it only in ZIBO? Yeah, this is the ZIBO mod we're flying. I have several other plugins which I use, but the aircraft is the ZIBO mod. Lovely jubbly though. Look at it maintaining its target speed at idle thrust. There we go, the thrust was definitely closed. Pop the seatbelt sign on. Romino 777, why don't you use a yoke? As I was answering earlier, I'm very comfortable with just using this joystick. I don't honestly have the space for a yoke as well. VREF is not visible on the PFD, Finma says. Yeah, it should be... I mean, I'm trying to think now. On my operator, it comes within speed. We know what it is though. It's 40, 135. We're going to probably fly a bit faster than VREF plus 5, about 145 knots or so. But yeah, I'm trying to think now. Honestly, it's been a while since I've flown, but I think you get the VREF, a little bit of information there as an option from Boeing. My operator, we don't have that, but you'll see as we slow down, we should get the VREF up here. Oh, Carl, again, your continued generosity beggars belief. I hope you're doing well as well. $32.23. Thanks a million. Here's a little bit of something to help with the extra gas you needed today. Thanks, Carl Sankri. Alpaca Airways, obviously stretching its limits here. Operations weren't too pleased, so I was whacking on a bit of extra fuel, but we need it. Thank you very much, Carl, for your continued support. And another donation. Very, very kind indeed. My goodness. Captain Delboy, lovely jubbly, says Punk839. Siraj B's suggesting that we jump into the solar plane. Someone actually said that earlier. Yeah, the Contraventus electric plane we streamed in about 2 or 3 months ago. That would not fare well in today's conditions, I fear. Billy Aviation on the Boeing OPT, does it have an option to add the gust on a few? I think it's the max headwind or just a generic wind without the gust. It doesn't have a gust option, but at my operator, we have to take the worst case scenario. So if I tell you the wind at the moment in Leeds is 250 at 28 gusting 40, we have to presume it's 40 knots. So if ATC tell us 28 knots gusting 40, we have to take the 40 knots as the steady. Even though it might not be, we can't take the steady wind component. We always take the kind of worst case scenario. Those clouds look really nice in the sim. Really impressed with that. At least there's no ominous weather around. No cells or anything. Right, did we tune the NDB here? 402.5. 402. It's not indenting that at all. It should do. You can't set to the nearest 0.5 in the ZIBO mod. 403. It's not liking that, so we couldn't actually technically fly this approach because we need the NDB identified. Let's go down to flight level 70. Here we are approaching Gasco, so we're on the arrival into Leeds. God, Aiton, was your real flight cancelled today? I'm off at the moment, God. I'm on a kind of seasonal contract work. I haven't flown for at least a couple of months now. Back to work beginning of next month, so I'm pretty excited. Maybe 403, yeah, I just tried that. I don't know why. It's definitely not picking up. So yeah, this is an NDB procedural approach. Even though we've got LNAV, I couldn't actually now fly this approach because we need the NDB tuned and identified, unfortunately. Even though the aircraft doesn't need it, you'd have to have it tuned. But we won't worry about that in the desktop sim. I'd be asking for vectors today, and obviously in the real aircraft you can tune it. No problem, 402.5, but yeah, if ZIBO can somehow get that to change to the nearest 0.5 decimal, that would be great, because 403 isn't working, neither is 402. Oh, there we are, it is working now. Well, it's just a bit late, that's explained, it's always very late giving the ident, but yeah, there we go, Leeds Bradford, we're all good, happy days. So aircraft's now in the decel and VNAV to 250. And then we've got another decel point. Remember, we need to be doing 185 knots for this procedure, so we're going to be very early with the flaps today. Just making sure we comply with the speed restriction. But yeah, right now, at the moment, can't land in Leeds. It is over limits. Right, we're doing the post-cruise checks. Fuel, 4 pumps. We have 4.5 tons of fuel left on board, which is lovely. Lights, logo is not required. APU is off. Pressurization is set. Seatbelt sign is on. Recall, there we are. The post-cruise checks are complete. Adam Link, do you think it looks horrible today, the weather in Leeds? Yes, it is very ominous out there. Let's see what actually it says here. I'm actually looking at my active sky in the background to see what that says the weather in Leeds is, because that's the actual weather being injected into the simulator. Obviously we'd have ATIS and a tower to talk to in real life too, which does help. Oh, right now it's saying in Leeds 248, very specific, at 21 gusting 31. So the actual weather in the simulator is okay. Now that's the thing, do I go off the meta on my phone or the active sky weather and the sim? You know, in reality we'd have tower, we'd have the ATIS, the tower being the instant wind we'd use on the approach. Right, bit of engine anti-ice required. At least it's not raining, which it usually is the case in Leeds. Driving rain and strong winds. Right, aircraft's now past the decel point to decelerate to 185 knots for the procedure. You should see it say 205 flaps, and then as we extend flaps, that speed will come down. Happy days. Just use a little bit of speed brake here just to help us slow down. There, and there is Leeds Bradford, ladies and gentlemen.
3,000 to go.
Finn Cassidy, will you need to do some time in a proper sim before you can fly again? Yes, I will. I'll have to do a recurrency sim because it'll be in over 90 days since I've flown. A training session, a check in the sim, and then a line check. So essentially 4 days of training and checking before I'm let loose again. Right, so we'll select flap 1 now. Again, remember, this procedure does require 185 knots. Procedure restricted to max 185 knots, so we have to bring the speed back prior to flying the approach. Leeds scenery is from Orbex as well. Oh, we just dived into some cloud, which just appeared from nowhere, and then we're out again. Just keep the engine anti-ice on for a tad longer. Let's go flap 5. Arcade Roger, don't make bad habits from the sim, flying cap. I'll be very careful. We should be okay. Believe it or not, Dave, thank you for the donation as well. When I was working in the full motion simulators and SFI, there were periods where I didn't fly for 2 or 3 months. My first year as an instructor, I only flew about, I think it was 50 hours in the whole year. So you get a little bit out of practice, but that was always a bit of a change of scenery.
10.
Right, so we'll imagine we've been cleared for the procedure, so we can now descend down to 3,000 feet. 79 dB. Yeah, we can go down to 3,000 and set the local QNH. So QNH 3,000 feet is set. Sorry, altitude 3,000 feet is set. QNH 976 now coming in, passing 6,000, 3,000, no flags. The standby altimeter is now set as my computer tries to melt. So let's just push out into vent. The aircraft's levelled off, which it would do if we're low on profile, but yeah, every time you change the QNH, it's not looking at this. It shouldn't jump VNAV like that. It's going to go vertical speed because it's descending now a little bit prematurely. I don't want to go that low and that slow. We could have got away with holding flap 1 for a bit longer.
50.
Sorry guys, trying to keep up with all the generosity here. I think I might have missed someone else's as well. I think we're okay. Matthew Dyson super chatted $1.99. Or Danon, thank you very much, Matthew Danon, for the donation, and glad you're enjoying the content. And welcome on board. Good luck, Captain, says Romano 777. I'll need it. Let me know in chat. What do you reckon, guys? Are we following real world rules? Meta says that we're gusting 40 knots, 90 knot crosswind, so that should dictate a go around. Or should I try and do the crosswind above limits, which would be banterful, would be fun. Either way, let me know in the chat. But I think Active Sky is saying, well, it's instantaneous, it's constantly changing now. So right now it says 250 at 22 gusting 34, but that is updating instantaneously. So I don't know if that's adding some slight variations. Slam it, go around, anti-ice. Someone said we're still in a bit of ice here, cloud here, so we need the anti-ice on. Real world, make it really interesting. Go on, land it above limits. You can always go around. I love it when the banter comes in. Try to manually update the weather first. I'll try. But we're doing nicely. 185 knots. Wait until 9 DME for the turn. We've got the DME here. We'd be doing the approach checklist now as well. What I'm going to do is try and manually refresh the weather then if I know... Oh, how the well do you do that? Active skies open in the background. I'm trying to fly an aeroplane, but I construct we'll do it. Let's go back to VNAV now. Open the speed window. Aircraft should now start descending. Thank you very much for the donation, whoever that was as well. Split Productions donated £3. Thank you. Keep up the great work. A coffee on me for your next shift. Better than the Lavassa from Michigan. Fly no comment. Split. Thank you very much for the donation. Who else we got here? Donating, thank you, Attic. Yasser Halepion super chatted $1.99. Thank you very much. I'd love to see how you do a go around a diversion. We've done that many a time. I've just refreshed the weather and the METAR. METAR's still saying 28, gusting 48. So that's over limits, but I did refresh the weather. We can turn the engine anti-ice off now as well. So it should be in limits. It should be in limits. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to fly the approach because the actual sim weather should be updated now. Oh look, the ski effects are back, but it's not looking that great. It should be within limits now, but we'll keep an eye on it. If obviously something goes bizarre, I'll have to go around anyway. Right, what is the mod doing here? We should be doing more of a continuous descent here. It's sort of leveled off here, but that's okay, as long as it keeps going down, that's fine. Thank you very much to whoever that was that joined as a member. Oh, this streaming malarkey is hard work. I don't have to worry about this. Brooks became a member. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel as a member, and we've got over 1,000 people viewing. What is going on? Got nothing else to do on your Sunday evening. Approaches are to localise this live, localise and capture. Set runway heading. We're just going to go vertical speed now. Nice gentle vertical speed. Descent onto the approach. Where are we going? That is not looking good. Well, it's localizer captured, but we're going straight through the localizer. ZIBO, what's going on? I'm gonna have to manually do this. Heading select. Something is not working in the in X-Plane 11 world today. Look at these ski effects, they're completely broken as well. Thank you for whoever bought the merchandise as well, as I'm absolutely falling apart. I'm just going to turn the ski effects off. Oh, this is not easy. Where's that glide slope? Right, I'm just going to manually intercept the localizer again because it's completely overshot it. I just don't think it's taken into account that wind. Oh, for goodness sake, I know exactly what I've done. The course. I haven't set the courses. I'm being an absolute noob today. 319, that might be why it went a little bit skew with. Alpaca 01, said 2,000 feet. Thank you. Keep it going down, we'll have approach. But yeah, that'll be why. That's why we have checklists, briefings, we do the full checks and approaches. I've had a super short flight trying to do everything that you usually do, answer your questions. I don't think I've ever forgotten to do that, but no problem, we can manually re-intercept this and we'll be absolutely fine. If anyone has joined this channel, rest assured, I do fly these in real life, albeit not as badly as this, I must confess. Right, approach checklist. We would have done the approach checklist, which would have confirmed the courses are set correctly. Localizer glide slope capture. Runway heading 319. Missed approach altitude. I think it's 3,000 feet. Again, I've not covered that. Yes, climb straight ahead to 2,000. Right turn back to the beacon hold at 3,000 feet. This is crazy stuff. And look at it bumping around here as well. Right, we're finally established. We are being absolutely destroyed here by the weather, by everything. Thank you very much for the donation, Tom. Kira for the wing. He says 20 Norwegian krona. Thank you very much for the donation. I need all the luck we can get here. I'm showing the METAR over limits at the moment, but the wind in active sky is in limit, so I will press on because the actual wind in the simulator is below the minimum legally required. It should be about 30 knots, the crosswind. I've just checked there.
30,
Right, I think we
20,
can start configuring now. Gear down, flap 15, match speed. I check this to flaps. Start switches continuous. Record is checked. Speed brake, green light. Landing gear, down to green. Order brake is set to max. Let's select flap 25 initially, bring the speed back, and I'll leave the bug there because the headwind component's gusting all over the place. Gives a little bit of margin. Below 162 knots, so we can select flap 40, and we'll punch the speed in right there. Right, flaps are 40, 40 green light lights, right, check's complete. Crosswinds all over the place. I'm going to also try and turn on... Right, one thing I really wanted to explain, guys, be prepared to always override the auto throttle. It's not quick enough in compensating for gusts. In real life, you really have to override that. Right, don't have to worry about this in real life either. Ski effects, turn those off. Let's go for XE, which I should think give us some... Well, it's not raining now, so... see, look, I'm having to add thrust manually here. Look, lot of thrust. That's completely normal. The auto throttle cannot compensate for that. Right, I'm going to disconnect anyway and see how I can do this manually. Right, I'm getting a bit high here. Ooh. So get back onto the glide slope within 1 dot, 500 feet above. We cannot be doing more than 1,000 feet per minute, so we're back on there on the profile. Let's pitch up. Oi, aye. That is really bumpy. This is probably quite typical of what I expect. Speed's right on VREF, you don't want it any lower than that, so just adding a bit of thrust. Not fighting it, but make the inputs. to make the corrections. Look at the the speed's increasing now because the wind's all over the place.
Approaching minimum.
Keep looking outside now. I'm going to decrab during the flare. I wanted to explain the kind of crosswind technique, but I just don't have time. We're going to use right rudder, aileron into wind, continue. Not good. 3 reds. Keep it coming down. There's our shadow. A bit high here. We'll keep an eye on it.
40, 30,
Check,
20,
close.
10.
Right rudder, aileron into wind.
1,000.
I'll take it, aileron into wind, full aileron into wind, speed brakes up, reverses. I got full aileron into wind here to keep the wings level. I'm literally full left on the control column. 80 knots, manual braking, 60 knots, idle reverse. I'll take that. Oh my goodness me, what a messy approach that was. we're down anyway in one piece. My goodness, I very nearly went around there because we kind of we got hugely ballooned at around 50 feet, but we were just okay, and we could take a right here at Alpha, and I can breathe. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leeds Bradford. That was the hairiest approach I think I've ever done on a live stream, and I was really impressed by the dynamics of active sky there, but the wind gusts were good. They can be more aggressive than that in reality. The speed can really change quickly. You just got to not fight it, just make the corrections, input them as you go, and you should be grand. But yeah, that was hard work. Right, there was a huge gust there. The wing really dropped at one point. Right, let's turn this off, do the taxi and flow. This will be an excellent replay, I think, to watch. We'll taxi onto stand, and I'll definitely need a breather after this one. Thank you very much, whoever that was that donated. I'll just do the clean up here, and I'll get straight to you then. We'll do that there. Transponder to out off, trim, set to 4 units. I cannot see where I'm going. Desktop simulator life. Flight directors can come off. I'm just going to keep taxiing until eventually I find a stand once the APU's up and running. Let's go up here now. APU start. Strobes to steady, and probe can come off. I'm just hoping not on the grass. No, we're okay. Right, let's go and have a look around here. I'm quite unfamiliar with Leeds. It's been a very long time since I've ever operated from here. We'll go on the stands in this direction. Cool stuff. Right, let's... is there a bridge here we can capture? I think we'll go on a bridge. Let's treat our passengers today. It's way too windy for them to enjoy the rain outside. Let's treat them. We pay a little bit extra for a stand. We're a gate bridge. We'll go on to stand 8, I think that is. Oh my goodness me. Right, I did have a couple of donations come in. Thank you very much to Sudan the Third, who donated £2. Well, probably illegally done on the touchdown. Thanks for the content. It's taught me most of what I do on the 7.3. Yeah, I think that was I was so close to pushing Toga, especially in the flare there. That was completely... I mean, really nasty conditions there. I don't think there's actually in any aircraft that's managed to land in Leeds today. But yeah, desktop simulators, you've got that. I've got that freedom, I don't have to worry about that in reality. But I'd be far more inclined to go around in real life. Right, there we are. Stand 8. Thank you very much, guys. I'll just plonk her on stand, and I'll say thanks to any of those there. Thank you very much. Oh, look at this guy. Fantastic. Look at this. I'm actually getting marshalled onto stand. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. Parking brake set, sir. And AP can come on the bus now. There we are. 2 blues, 1 red. Ladies and gentlemen, the engines are dead. Welcome to Leeds, Bradford. Local time in the sim, 9:20 in the morning, 9:20 in the evening in the UK. And we're all here in one piece. I can't believe it. We've made it here. And there's the school bell to bring the air bridge close to us on stand here. Awesome, awesome stuff. Ah, oh, what an approach and landing. That was great. Weather radar I've left on, haven't I? Yes, that's well spotted. I like to test you guys, as you well know. Weather radar is off. Oh yeah, that would be making a bit of a scrape on the concrete as well. Oh crikey, guys, thank you very much. Very generous. All coming in now. Norman Robinson, $2. Thank you very much. He said excellent landing. Appreciate that. David Crawford, €10.99. Thank you. Can I go home now, or at least get off and buy a new pair of trousers? Great landing. Doing this approach on Friday on my little ATR. Look, it wasn't that bad. I think I could have quit. Alan Davies, £1.99. Thank you. Wow, breath held. So did you crab on your way in? in. No, we only did the decrab during the flare, which was the kind of method we apply in reality. We can decrab after landing on a very wet runway, but I did the usual there. And Stuart Payne, £1.99. Anyone questions you being a pilot, show this. Well, yes, Stuart Payne, please don't judge my actions on a desktop simulator with my ability to fly an aircraft in real life, because it is still pretty different. But yes, here we are. We've made it, and I think it's about time we had a look at the replay and I catch my breath and prepare for the next intense, crazy flight. We've still got to take off, guys, from Leeds, remember. But yeah, thank you very much again for all the donations. Right, now where's my replay music? Here it is, and let's take a look here. Right, I hope this doesn't break the air bridge at all during the replay. I know it can sometimes mess the sim around us. Look at that picture already. That's a bit gnarly. Right, let's get ourselves into a nice position about there. Get a little bit closer. You can see, look, we'll have a look at the replay and the view in there, but let's have a look for the threshold here first. The doors are open as well. I knew it would do that because of the stupid air bridge system. Ignore the fact the L1 door is open. And we'll have a look at this landing. Oh. Nice. Oh, kept descending. That's the passengers jumping out the L1 door, I think. So there's the rudder coming in. It's a little bit one wheel down. I'm pretty happy with that. Ideally a bit close to the centre line, so you want to be a bit upwind prior to applying that procedure. But it was otherwise, for a desktop sim, I'm pretty pleased with that, if I'm honest. The door's open. Oh, there's the rudder kicking it around. Yeah, that's good. Little wheelie, no problem at all. I'll take that one. Let's do one more landing like that. Let's have a look from this side so you can don't have to see all the passengers jumping out. Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's why I use X-Plane as well, because it's far close to showing the sort of dynamic conditions you'd have in reality. You see, look, the right rudder, you know, if you just have a look in there as part of the replay, I'm having to use kind of continuous right rudder because it's weathercocking to the left, so using the right rudder to maintain centre line all the way in there. Right, good stuff. So what I'm going to do is put you in the wing view for the replay. I'm going to take a quick break. You can enjoy the landing and taxi on the stand, and I'll see you very shortly for the next sector into London Heathrow. Thank you very much, guys. Look at the vomit comment here. I'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you. Alright guys, I am back. Thank you very much for your patience. I've not touched anything in the simulator. I think that was quite good timing. As soon as I ran up, we just taxied on to stand, but I've got myself a drink, and we'll get everything ready for the next sector to London Heathrow. Yeah, let's have a little look anyway where we are on stand. We'll leave the APU running because it is quite a quick turnaround, but typically we get the GPU on the bus and shut the APU down, even on a short turnaround like this. But yeah, the weather, I just looked at the METAR again. And it has calmed down a little bit in Leeds, 22 gusting 33, so it should still be quite a hairy takeoff. And we'll see how we get on from there. Right, so APU bleed can come on now. We'll get some conditioned air to the cabin. Yeah, I think the door automatically opens with some of these auto gates. This is an Orbex one, so I don't know if they have that. Is it SAM plugin? I don't know much stuff about this, but I'll try and find out afterwards. But annoyingly, it had the door open for the replay, unfortunately. So transit checks. We get the weather again. We'd complete the tech log, all the performance there, and we start off straight away setting the MFRA. So I haven't actually done any of the performance for departure here in Leeds. I'm just doing it in front of me now. I've got the OPT in front of me. So Leeds runway 32. There is the emergency turn. We're going to put wet runway. Surface wind is 240 at 33 knots. So it's right on their limits with the gust. But we'd actually use the lesser wind because we want to use the most conservative headwind component. So it's a 4 knot headwind. Temperature is 7 degrees, 976. We need to get some fuel as well for this next sector. Again, we have a lot more of a detailed look at the weather. But again, we'll just do the same. We'll just take quite a bit of extra fuel and we'll divert somewhere where the wind's a little bit more suitable. Matthew Danon, is your simulator public? Can I make a booking? Matthew Danon, I'm not sure if you know how this works, but I'm just playing X-Plane on my desktop simulator. I don't have a full-size simulator for you to use. You get a ticket from my operator and be fortunate enough to fly with me. That's as close as you can get. But thank you anyway, Matthew. Sorry to disappoint you. Freckles Aviation, nice landing. Heathrow, can you park at 305 Terminal 3? Freckles Aviation, if I can find it, absolutely fine. I have absolutely no idea which terminal's where at Heathrow. I know we're going to be landing on 27 left, and I'm going to kind of self-vector myself, but I'm afraid I have no idea where that is. If I get a chance, I'll have a look, and we'll try and find it. Thank you very much anyway for the donation. Right, let's get some SIDS here. We're going to be flying a Nelsa 3 Whiskey departure. Nelsa 3 Whiskey, and it's going to be runway 32. MFRA, yeah, I was just doing the performance and the fuel, sorry, that's what I was having to worry about. So, flight plan is under charts, isn't it? Ditch this one, there's number 2. So need 4.2 tons. Alternate is Stansted. I've got the weather for Stansted in front of me. Winds still strong, 33 knots, but it does favour that runway slightly. It's only about 20-30 degrees offset. So if it gets bad in Heathrow, we go to Stansted. But still, let's call it another 3 tons easily. We've got Manchester okay. Heathrow's should be fine. Stansted's okay. So 3 tons, and that's plenty of thinking time. That's going to be 7.2. Hell, let's just call it 7.8 because I know that's 4 weeks. That's going to be plenty. When the weather's like this, with widespread disruption, you just don't mess around. Just whack the fuel on. I've never had any issues with doing that. So 7.8. We'll leave the passenger load at 150, just for simplicity. Sorry about this. Fuel truck cool, and we should now be loading on our Jet A1. There we are. Up it goes. So, takeoff weight I can now work out, because we've got the fuel coming on board. Fuel weight and balance payload. Is this the fuel once we've completed fueling? I think it is 63.3. So I'm just punching that into the OPT to see what our performance is going to be. Should be quite a lot of thrust. It's actually reduced 22k, believe it or not, but only just. I'm going to go 22k because we can't take an assumed temperature, and we're going to go full 24. We uprate it in this case. So 24k for departure. I'll just have to remember that when I do the OPT. But yeah, you'll get a chance to answer the question. Well, I'll try to, but it's going to be another very short flight. M-Phrase 1950. And we'll just start the boarding again down here. But yeah, I can't believe I forgot the courses on that approach. That's why the aircraft started turning. It was trying to intercept. So I've remembered seeing that in Level D Sim. It does behave a little strangely. What was I going to do, guys? This is so confusing sometimes. 1950 and start boarding. That was it. Terminate flight leg and then start flight leg. That should do it again. Sounds like they're boarding in the back there. Perfect. Right, let's get into the FMC again then. So, route 1, we don't need to do the position update because we already know where, the aircraft already knows where it is. So, departure, Echo Golf, November Mike. We're going to be going to Echo Golf Lima Lima. And we're now going to be Alpaca 02. I've already activated Project Fly, but again, I have no idea why the overlay is not showing. It's definitely active. Yeah, fly now. Yeah, it is now anyway. I hope you're seeing me okay in the stream as well. I'm having a bit of, I think I dropped some frames there, so apologies for the lack of quality there. I hope you can all see me a-okay. That is set. Right, so we're going to be doing departure, runway 32, Nelsa 3 Whiskey. From Nelsa, going to be routing direct to Manchester. And then from Manchester, direct to Listo. And then from Listo, it's going to be Lima 612 to Honolly. And then from Honolly, I have no idea on any of the arrivals into Heathrow. It's going to be Bravo November 4 Alpha. What the hell is that VOR called? Bovingdon, isn't it? I think it's Bovingdon. ILS 27 left. Bovingdon 4 Alpha. Bravo November. No, I'll just basically build so we can the FMC to represent radar vectors. And then we can execute that. Matthew David, can I have your number, please? Because then we can talk. Matthew David, I'm not sort of in that position to give my number publicly. My social life and private life is very different to what I do on the simulator, and I'm not willing to sort of give that information out. But yeah, no need to ask the sort of questions. Thanks for the donation anyway. Reserves are going to be 2.1. Again, we'll probably clear off from Heathrow before we'd ever get to that amount. Cost index again 30, cruising a lot lower on this flight. Flight level 190. There we are. thank you, Bloodline. Very funny. Execute cruise wind. Top of climb is going to be 263 at 56. And the ISA deviation is -9. Latest weather in Leeds then. Again, I'll just refresh the METAR. It has died down a little bit. Yeah, within limits for takeoff. 240 at 22, gusting 33. 7 degrees, which we've got set there. And we're going to go full 24k because we are quite light. Full length, we have to backtrack. Takeoff again for flap 5. Wet speeds in the official OPT are 33, 38, 44. 128. Well, it's a little bit different, so we'll go with the actual OPT here. 133, 138. I think it's because the gross weight is slightly off, but it's fine for desktop simulator. 138 and 144. That's from the official OPT. CG is going to be set again at 5.75. There we go. So that is the FMC. All loaded. There is an emergency turn here, so if we were to have an engine failure, slightly different procedure. This is company specific here, because a little bit of obstacles to terrain. We have to climb straight ahead, make a right turn, hold at the NDB essentially. We can't keep going in a straight line because there's an obstacle or something precluding us from doing that. Maybe it could be even airspace. Right, FMC is all loaded. Back up to here to the upper overhead panel. That is all set. I'm trying to look at some of the chat comments. Guys, carry on. That's all set. Here, let's have a look at the SID. It's going to be a Nelsa 3 Whiskey. Runway 32. It says 0.5 India Lima Foxtrot, which is what we got tuned off the DME for the ILS. 2.1, whichever is later. Left turn 274. It's a bit of a... Oh, crikey, 233. And then we're going outbound on the Leeds NDB, but looks a bit 272 to Nelsa. What a departure. Who designed this? Climb straight ahead. 0.5 later, left 313 track, 2.3 left 274. Intercept pole 053 radial. Oh, you intercept the radial from 053 for about a minute, and then we intercept the QDR outbound for the beacon. What a departure. Let's just put 12.1, leave it as it is, and then NDB tune as well, and let LNAV do its magic 8. Otherwise it would be a bit of a elongated briefing. Right, V2 I need to set 144. Up overhead panels all set on the transit. AP bleed is on. We're all set here. Flight directors, I forgot to turn on. V2 is set. Courses are set. That's fine. I'd probably dial up the Pole Hill VOR outbound. That is all looking good. I think we've done everything. Shout in the chat, you guys are my first officers, you're my checklist readers, you're very good at spotting things I miss in single pilot at desktop simulator, but I think we're all good to go. Imagine boarding's complete, we've done the loading, doors are now closing up, and we'll get the clearance, and then we'll push back. Thank you very much to Jasa Halapon. My apologies, I've completely mispronounced that. Love the stream. Are you a pilot in real life or summon? He says, Yasser, yes, I'm a captain for a European airline. Working in Europe, been flying the 777 for about 8 years. Started the channel about 3 years ago, and I stream when I get some spare time in desktop simulators. I have a lot of spare time at the moment because I'm on a seasonal contract with work. So yeah, winter's off and I'm back to work next month. But yes, that's me in a nutshell. Thank you very much for the donation and welcome to the channel. Engine start switches are in auto. Yeah, very good. Well spotted. Yeah, this is just a test, guys. So show you the panel, see if you can notice anything that's off, and you notice the engine start switches are still in continuous. Excellent work. Checking the altitude in the MCP. Excellent. That's why we have a clearance. Flight level 70, I think the stop altitude is. Do not climb at flight level 70. Brilliant work. That is why we have checks and everything. There we go. Coco H, I knew someone would ask that. Which airline do you fly for? That is something I keep completely anonymous. Operator does know. My trade department knows. Everyone knows. But it's something I do not wish to share. That is just something I choose to do privately. Because you're going to start asking questions like, why did my checked-in bag go missing? Who do I contact? I'm not interested. I'm just here to show you how I fly the real aircraft using a desktop simulator, and sometimes I fly other aircraft too, very badly. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. That's the channel. Right, let's get a pushback organised and go from there.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Is that automatic then? Like, I've not pre-planned any of this. It's just there already. Interesting. I've not done that.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Delete segment. That must be from, I don't know, must have remembered it from another time, perhaps? I have no idea. Right, oh, I have no idea which direction I need to push back either. Actually, probably the other direction, isn't it? Let's do something like that. Perfect. I pressed enter.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
I thought I might have broken something there. Right, it's all working anyway. Luke Zappa, I've heard a lot of just, I'm testing you. Absolutely. Perfect. Michael Kitchen, the posh dog driver, sounds a little bit upset. Yes, I think he's having to work out in here. No good. No, he is morphing out of the terminal. Better pushback remembers. Ah, thanks, Jonathan. I had no idea. The dog driver sure likes to articulate. Very well spoken. Oh, look at that. You can see the master caution light. Look, can you see that? Oh my god.
Okay,
I love all the reflections,
all doors
though.
and hatches are closed.
But yes.
Ready to connect.
The scenery is from Orbex, obviously a leading scenery provider. We have flown into Leeds before in a live stream. But yeah, we could not have not gone to Leeds today in Storm Ciara, that's for sure. Cool. Right, let's do the before... start checks below the line. So air conditioning pack's off, anti-collision light is on. Just got to release the parking brake. Transponder is out off. That was the door closing. That was a really realistic sound. And there's the school bell. Releasing the air bridge. Happy days. Another on-time Alpaca Airways departure. Yeah, I don't know what's... Ski's completely broken, the ski effect, so that's why I've gone back to
So
default.
connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Parking brake released at 9:36.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Oh, that's a point. When I do the replay, obviously it doesn't update the time. Interesting. Let's just do that.
30,
There you go, a little bit closer to realistic time now. Thank you very much to Torsten Schwartz, has just donated $2. Thank you very much. I swear you've... Look at those two trucks. I love all the effects here. Thank you very much, Torsten, for your continued support. $2 donation. Very kind indeed. And glad you enjoyed the content. Guys, don't forget as well to smash the thumbs up like button if you enjoyed the content. I've got 700 people watching and I'm darn sure I don't have 700 likes. Appreciate that as well if you could take the time to like the video. Right. That's another thing that'd be quite interesting to have modelled. If you're doing a turnaround, a quite quick one, you'd still have some residual EGT from the engine, so it'd be a little bit higher. It's only a very small thing, but strip paint, well done. Was it 190, I think? Oh, Jack's walk. I'm just yeah, just how are you? All right? And that's Jack's birthday tomorrow. Jack, my Labrador, if you're new to the stream, he is going to be 5 tomorrow. 5 tomorrow. He's our Labrador who's been in all the live streams, haven't you? Yeah, good boy. He's not had a walk today because of Storm Ciara, unfortunately. There we go. Starter cutout. Monitoring engine number 2 is stable. Starting engine number 1.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake is set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
I've got 2 people talking to me in the background. Jack and my partner. Alright. Thanks. I'll see you in a bit. Alright. I'm very lucky she gives me the afternoon to stream, or evening to stream. Right, N2, N1 oil pressure. Don't have to worry about this in real life. Right, start, spark valve closed, bright then off, that's something else we check when we put fuel into the engine. Happy birthday, Jack, says Kieran, thank you very much. I'll send you regards in the morning. Disconnect hand signals, again, we'd wait until we've got 2 good engine starts for that to happen. There we are. Starter, cut out monitoring engine number 1, and that is all stable. What is this?
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Good day, sir. Yes, this little A, I've never fully understood what that is. I think it's to do with the auto gate. It appears at some of the airports where I have that, unfortunately. Right, tugs away. And again, we'd wait until we've seen the bypass pin to continue with the rest of the before taxi flow. Happy days. Transformed out. Right, generators on, APUs off, start switches continuous, engine and wing anti-ice will be coming on for departure as well. Packs auto for the isolation valve, APU bleed is off, all is set, flaps, 5 for departure, flight controls, full forward, full back, and left centre, right centre. Here comes the rudders, full right centre, full left centre, blank lower DU, and here comes recall. And that is it. We don't complete the before taxi. Check this, right, I've not even briefed any of the taxi. No idea where we're going. So we're going to make Alpha, let's take the second right, taxi via Delta, and then we need to enter the runway. 180 backtrack, depart runway 32. So, happy days. Parking brake released. Turn off and taxi on. There's the config check. No takeoff configuration warning horn. Again, it's very quick in the ZIBO mod and the desktop simulators. Limitations of how the engine spools works. It's a little bit quick with adding thrust at low M1, low revolution of M1. That's always been the case. Actually, I know what. I think I'll take a right then a left instead of taking the second right. We're going to have a look at the update at the weather here in Leeds as well. Jassa, do you not check the lower DU when doing the flight control check? It's not an option on all the 737s, so you don't get always to see that. So long as your movement is full and free, there's no restriction in the movement, nothing blocking it, it's completely fine. On the Airbus and certain Boeings, and I think if you have that flight control display installed, yes, you should probably be checking it. But the way my operator has it kitted, we don't have that system. Thanks Todd Gilby for reinforcing that fact, appreciate that. And here is Delta, so we're going to go to the whole point just here. More FPL, the 727. Oh yeah, to be fair, yeah, the 727 does spool up slowly, but I think the engines on the ZIBO mod have been modelled incredibly accurately by Twerkster Tim, who built the flight model. It's based off data from the Level D simulator, so all the fuel flow figures and stuff match that. But it's just the response of the thrust at lower percentages. For example, it's different from a turbofan engine at low N1 takes some time to spool up. At low N1 or ground idle on the 7.3, at higher thrust it's very quick to spool up. That's why we have a lot of drag on the approach, so we have to go around. There's no sort of delay for go around thrust being set because there's already a high N1 there. But yeah, the 727, those cigarette engines, they're the JTADs, they're very slow. Those, well, they're turbojets, aren't they? Cigar tube engines. Right, we'll do the before takeoff checklist as we trundle to the whole point. So config we checked, flaps we have 5 required, 5 selected green light, stab trim set for departure as well, which is 5.75 units. Takeoff briefing, packs order bleeds on, V speeds are set for departure, wet 33, 36, 44, which is set on the MCP. It's this ridiculous departure called a Nelsa 3 Whiskey. We climb straight ahead, it's going to be a slight right turn, I think 312, a left turn, then another left turn, interceptor radio, I think it was radial 052 from Pole Hill, then outbound on the NDB beacon. It's all tuned. I'll now hopefully do its magic. But we can back it up by raw data anyway if that's set. Now let's just have a look at the latest wind as well, because we are still approaching limits for takeoff. Same takeoff limitation at my operator for takeoff. It's actually 25, but we can use 33 in certain situations. And right now the gust is 33 knots, so we know we are in limits, and it's slightly still a full crosswind. Yeah, you'll notice I'll be increasing the aileron input during the takeoff roll, but just before we push togo, I'm going to talk you through kind of crosswind takeoff technique. Right, imagine we're being cleared to enter backtrack runway 32, so we'll put all this on. So MCP is set, transponder Tara, strobe lights are on, lights are on. There we are. Imagine we've got our takeoff clearance as well, but we do need to enter and backtrack runway 32. I've done enough of these external views today. It is definitely raining here. Love this now. That's X-Plane 11 doing that. That's really cool. I'm trying to taxi. It's all backwards when you're looking at it at this angle. We do like the odd external view. Oh, there's the weather reloading. Should just take off in this direction for Panther. No, just kidding. So, let's have a little chat about the crosswind takeoff technique. Okay, so the wind in Leeds is coming in from the southwest 240, so it's coming from the left as we face the other direction. So as we take off down the runway, it's going to push weathercock into wind, so we have to use opposite rudder to maintain centre line. Now, as we accelerate, the aircraft will have a tendency to roll, and what we need to do is turn the aileron into wind, but we have to be really careful with this. If you do this, the spoilers will deploy, which will really have an impact on your takeoff performance. So you don't go full aileron into wind. You gradually increase this as you approach your V1 and VR, but you use as much rudder as you need to keep the wing centre during rotation. Don't worry about that on rotation. Use as much aileron as you need. But certainly, yeah, when you're accelerating, don't do that, because you're going to have the spoilers deploy, and that is no good. Rudder, nice and smooth as we take off. Not too many inputs. But yeah, it's not much to it really, and in reality it's practice. If you're new at my operator, you are limited to the maximum crosswind component, and I've just realised I completely missed the merchandise. Whoever that was, I'm so sorry, because I was busy talking about the crosswind takeoff technique and I completely missed it come up on the window. So whoever bought the mug, the towel, the the cushion, thank you very, very much, and I'm very sorry I missed that there. I'll look at the replay later and say thanks, but do pop up in chat if you're still here. Anyway, right, I'm half looking at the chat, half trying to get us lined up on the runway. But yes, is there a windsock in Expo 11 for me?
On runway 32.
50.
Thank you very much, Torsten Schwartz again, $2 donation. Check the landing out. Good work. Another test completed by one of my followers. Oh dear. Right, nowhere near the centre line, but that's something I can sort out there. What is it, Heathrow? I don't have any Heathrow charts because my operator isn't flying there. I'm going to guesstimate about 100. And then we can fine tune that later. It doesn't matter if you change it in flight. That's completely fine. Right, so yes, as I said, the wind's going to be coming in from the left. So as we accelerate, the aircraft is going to want to weathercock to the left. So we can anticipate using right rudder during the takeoff roll. As we accelerate, I'll use a little bit of aileron into it to keep the wings level. On rotation, use as much as this as you need to keep the wings level, but don't go too crazy. Above 1.5 units here, the spoilers will deploy, which we don't want to happen really during the takeoff roll. But do not be afraid to use as much as you need. Krizazu, where's the ski effects? We disabled them because they're broken in the mod at the moment. 79 feet for the elevation. Thank you. Oh, what a guess. 100. There we go. Right, I think we're all good. Was that Mr. Lancel missing the call out on the backtrack? Oh, I'm referring to someone on some SOP, I think. Right, all clear to go. Lights are on. And timing, I've got to reset this. Oh, there we are, stabilised. Push toe, get set takeoff thrust. Just get myself back onto the centre line. Right, already having to use right rudder to keep that in. There we are, takeoff thrust set into the indications normal. Right, a lot of right rudder in fact. So I'm just going to put a little bit of aileron into wind here. I'd have the wipers on full now as well.
80 knots.
Checked. So feeding a little bit of aileron, not too much. Using the rudder to maintain centre line. Having a lot of right rudder inputs at the moment. Hand off the thrust lever.
Rotate.
Rotate. Nice and smooth. Keep the wings level with aileron. And keep the aircraft centred. Ah, there we are. We're airborne. Used a bit more with the lights. Possibly to climb gear up. Now getting terrain cautions. Oh my goodness me. We're airborne.
400.
That is LDAV. I'm quite sure that terrain caution shouldn't have sounded. We're airborne. Quite a ropey takeoff.
1000.
And that is checked. Just want to have a look at this crab angle first. We're still climbing out on the runway centre. Awesome stuff. Ah, there we go. Let's concentrate on what we're doing. Thank you very much for another merchandise purchase whilst we climb out here. There's absolutely no way of seeing what that was, but thank you very much to whoever that was. Thank you. I'll check that out later. Oh dear, bugging up. Flat one. Oh, some of the inputs you make on here is not exactly responding quite as unexpected with the crosswind takeoff there, but it was still, yeah, having to put the left rudder in aileron into it. Flaps up. Happy days. Anonymous bought a mug, boss. Thanks, Stuart. Thank you very much. And thank you, anonymous individual. Right. All trimmed out. And engage the autopilot. Right, flaps up now. VNAV. Let's set standards. We're climbing to a flight level. First officer will be turning this up on pilot monitoring. So, standard set, passing 5-6, flight level 70. VNAV's engaged. Let's go straight up to our cruise level because it is a short flight, which was 190. And let's delete. We don't just punch that lots of times, you check which one you need, but that's all set after takeoff checklist. Right, engine anti-ice can come off, I think.
50. 40,
Thank you very much, stand by. Condition pressurization
20,
2.0
10.
is set. There we go, that's to off, that's to off. Weather radar forgot to turn on as well. Oh, this is messy. I'll go, altimeter standard set after takeoff checklist is complete. Yeah, probably still have a little bit of engine anti-ice on. Wrong order as well. Remember, start switches first, then engine anti-ice. Oh, this is hard. Thank you very much, Stuart Payne. Oh, Stuart, not only have you purchased a mug, you've highlighted the fact that you purchased the mug by making a donation. Thank you very much. It was me who purchased the mug, Captain. Do not apologise. Rule 1, fly the plane. Thank you very much, Stuart. As you've noticed today, I've been pretty much disobeying that at all times, answering queries and with the other banter. Oh, another item's been purchased by Richard. Spot a mug. Thank you very much, Richard, for the donation there. I'm trying to read it. Looking forward to getting this mug for my something. I missed it just a second ago, but thank you very much for that. Appreciate all the support, guys. Most certainly not needed, but very much appreciated. Right, so still raining. This is hard work. Right, 100, 190. Let's do the pre-cruise checks. Fuel, we've got 4 pumps. Lights, logos off, APU's off. Leave the engine anti-eyes on. Pressurization, 3.8 diff set. We never release the cabin crew, but we'll let the passengers go. It doesn't look too turbulent. Recall, there we are. Checks complete. And breathe. Right, so you can kind of see the SID. We're now going to intercept this kind of 272 outbound from the NDB, or LNAV is, but yeah, you should see the tail of this will be on 272 by the time we complete the turn. Yeah, I can also guarantee that the window wouldn't be sticking to the windscreen, but yeah, just to show you what happens when I turn the ski effects on. Oh no. Oh god, I thought it was going to crash the plane. Look, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I didn't like how it stopped. Anyway, I'm going to go back to XE. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be showing any sort of precipitation. Don't need the wipers on, but just to demonstrate, you can still get it wiped anyway. Good. Right, what is the weather doing in Heathrow at the moment? 250 at 20, gusting 32. That is doable. It's nowhere near as bad as it was at Leeds. Looking at alternates of Stansted. Stansted, the wind's a little bit more favourable, similar speed to Heathrow. Oh, I've got another person offering sort of illicit something. Thank you, Stuart. Stuart, moderators, thank you so much for your continued hard work. I don't know how they're getting so much attention from these people. Gary Coppard, thank you very much for purchasing the mug. And he says, had to get myself one of these, had to buy one of these. Thank you very much anyway. Oh, I'm loving all the Flight Deck Sim mug purchases. Very, very kind. Very kind. Aviation Joe, are your clouds the Active Sky XP ones? I don't know if it's a mixture of Active Sky and X-Vision, a preset X-Vision. One of the members of the channel made. I'm not sure. Stuart Walsh, in what circumstances would you get an off-schedule descent warning? Excuse me. And how do you clear it? Off-schedule descent will be when you don't reach your cruise altitude. You level off before this and then start descending. So let's say we level off at 170 and then descent, you get off-schedule descent. All you got to do is reset the flight altitude, reset the land altitude. Excuse me guys, I'm just going to cough here. Oh, that's better. I did mute the microphone for your benefit. There we are. Well, it's still raining here, so we'd still want the engine anti-ice on. Where are we flying past there? It's not Bradford, is it? Yes, I think it is. Perfect. Bit of a funny routing today, actually. Well, no, not as funny. It was the first sector which had unusual routing. Right, I think we'll have a little bit more time in the cruise at least compared to this first sector. Right, vertical speed 1,000 feet per minute. JTP, don't die on us. It'll be an awful shame.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Thank you very much
10.
to Stuart Payne for the donation. £1.99. Need to add a polo shirt to your line. Thank you, Stuart Payne. Yeah, I think because of the sales we've been making, I have been offered a few more products from Teespring. I don't know if a polo shirt's available yet. I've got a standard white t-shirt, hoodie, some other things, just the standard default stuff, but I do need to update some of that stuff when I get around to doing it. Oh, hello Dan. Well, this is fun to watch on a Sunday, watching some idiots go through the sky on a game, chatting absolute nonsense. Oh, Dan, Let me show you the rear of the plane where the R2 door is located, and you can so forth jump out. Thank you, Dan, for crikey. I suppose, you know, I understand why people might doubt my credentials, but I am who I say I am. Right, why are we 1,000 feet low here? That's interesting, VNAV. VNAV 190 in the cruise. Interesting. The cruise altitude seems to have disappeared. Execute. That should now say VNAV path. There we are. Not sure what happened there. Perfect. Match runway heading. Happy days. I could take a bit of a breather. How long have we got until top of descent? 107 miles. 100 miles is where we typically start setting up for descent. But yeah, it's going to be the... well, actually, I probably need to tidy this approach up a bit, because I have no idea about Heathrow, guys. Really don't. I've never flown into the airport. I've just selected the Simbrief star and the transition, so I don't know if that's going to build. Oh, well, look at that. I think we'll just let LNAV do its thing. 2,500 above. Runway 27 left. That's quite good, because if you get vectors and you had no delay, I guess that would roughly match your track miles, so you can leave it all in there. What is the weather in Heathrow? 10k actually, so good visibility. Wait, 20, 40, 60, 57. That's going to be roughly where our top of descent is if there's no restrictions on this arrival, which I think there is. There's a 150 at Soppit, which will probably put us a little bit low. But we'll follow the charted restrictions on the way in. Yeah, that 150 just gets us a little bit low, but that's because it's London airspace. Right over the top of Manchester as planned. And all looking okay. Right, let's ditch Leeds charts.
50.
Thank you very much to Volprick for the 17 DKK. I always forget the currency. Thank you again, Volprick, and for the continued support for Discord. For the next airstairs, can't wait for my mug. Oh, Volprick, well, I didn't realise you purchased a mug. I'm not about the airstairs reference, but thank you very much for the donation, nonetheless. And oh, that's your donation coming in as well. Oh, 2 tons of love. Sorry, I think you came at some time. Thank you. £3 donation. Tried my first airline flight in X-Plane today using the ZIBO mod. Flipping VNAV would not engage. Got it to my destination. Order brakes did not activate, and I ended up bursting the tyres. Buttered landing, which was a bonus. Sounds like you had a busy day. Then 2 tons of love. Thanks for the donation and the continued support. VNAV would not engage. Could be for several reasons. Make sure you got all the FMC information preloaded correctly. That would be the most common reason, but without seeing it, I couldn't really give you much more guidance. But if you, I can't remember if you remember or not. I think you are, but if you are, just post it in Discord. That's what it's for. If you need any help with that. Right, it's spat out my cruise level again. That's really unusual. We definitely punched in 190 a second ago. I'm going to re-put it in there. Execute. It's accepted that, but it spat it out for some reason. That's a bit bug of some sorts. Niall Judo, thank you very much for your membership. Welcome to the channel as a member, and for the continued support. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. Alright, we're now accelerating as well. Not sure what is going on here. We're still in this sort of precipitation, so we'd keep the engine anti-ice on. In reality, we'd be looking for icing here as well, see if that's building up. I hope it's not, but I don't know how well modelled that is in X-Plane, but if you had ice building up on the wiper or the windscreen here, you'd pop the wing anti-ice on. Yeah, why is it raining above the clouds? Exactly. But I know if you don't have this on, you can have like lots of ice build up and issues in X-Plane. So I'll just, you know, -3. The static air temperature is going to be above -40. I'm pretty confident of that. Yeah, -24. We need the engine anti-ice on. I've had it on the whole sector once before.
50,
It can
40,
happen.
30.
Thank you very much to Matt XGS for donating £1. I bought a mug, but it didn't show up. Love you anyway. Well, Matt XGS, love you too. Thank you very much for purchasing the mug. I'm very sorry it didn't come up and I couldn't notify that. And well, thanks for your donation, highlighting the fact you bought a mug as well. I appreciate that as well. I hope you enjoy many a brew from said mug. Thank you very much. Right, so let's have a little look at Heathrow, which no clue. I don't think we've actually ever flown into Heathrow in a live stream. We've departed Heathrow, but I don't think this is our first time. Right, arrival. One of those ones. And the approach is going to be ILS 27 left. That has the whole transition. No, we need a transition chart of some sort. Radio failures, RNAV, arrivals, initial approach from BNN. That's the one I'm looking for. And now I'll reselect the ILS. Not here. Approach ILS. Runway 27 left, happy days, and then I'll just select airport. Now I know someone did request a stand earlier. I know there's hundreds of stands at Heathrow, I think. I have absolutely no idea where we're going to park. We're going to be landing here. I don't know. Am I going to T? I know it's T5. When does that actually sound at Terminal 2A? I have no idea where we're going. I'll vacate to the right. And I think I'll just pick a stand. I'm just going to taxi left, right, centre. But this is why I miss VATSIM. I know you guys like me on VATSIM as well, but I could guarantee I would have had issues on the network on these public streams. And I know there's ways of stopping them now on other clients, so I'm going to look into that in the next few weeks as well. Pilot Adam 27 left question mark. I have no idea what the preferred landing runway is in Heathrow. I think it's 27 left. No idea. Thank you very much to who joined as a member there. I just missed that. Another flight sim at Explain 11. Thank you very much for the donation. Sorry, thank you very much for your membership and continued support. Welcome to the channel as a member, and I'm glad you enjoyed the content. Were you a member previously? I can't remember. I've definitely recognised that that picture of yours. I've seen you before, I think. But thank you anyway, and welcome back if you were a member.
30.
Thank you very much to Aviation 20 for the 79p donation as well. Appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome on board. There we are. Right, so 190 Honolulu. Happy days. VNAV's not, or the cruise attitude's not been spat out. It's still working okay. Yeah, I've no idea. 27 left. Should we go for November 6 and then Terminal 3? I have no idea. Watch the R landing on runway 27 left. Interesting. Thank you very much to Aviation. Oh no, two notifications coming in simultaneously. Aviation 20. I've just said thanks for that, and it was KPS. Again, another very generous donation, £20, and a new member as well. Thank you indeed. Love these two sectors. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Well, KPS, you're most welcome. Thank you very much for the continued support as well. That's very kind of you. Again, donating very generously. Guys, thank you. Very, very nice of you. Right, so, I'm getting so distracted. Let's have a look at this arrival. So, we've got a 150 restriction. I think that's before Honolulu. No, after Honolulu, at Soppit. Honolulu, Soppit. Doesn't mention it on the chart, unless it's somewhere else. Descent planning. There we are. 150 by Soppit, so we'll do that as cleared. Westcott NDB, that's an NDB I've flown a lot of, because that's where I did my instrument rating. Oxford, Echo Golf Tango Kilo, so Westcott NDB I'm familiar with. And then we go to Bovingdon, where we'd anticipate vectors or holding. But after Bovingdon, we've got the rest coded for vectors, essentially. We're just going to use LNAV, kind of self-position onto this approach. No. Map. Plan. Soppit Westcott, slowing down, 220 knots by there, 60 above. We need to be at 70 at this point. That's going to leave us quite high, isn't it? Oh no, just bang on, look. We'll leave VNAV to do its thing then. 60 above, intercept the localised ILS approach. Happy days. Where's my fix rings? ZIBO bug report. 10-mile ring and a 4-mile ring are not appearing correctly. 10-mile ring should be here, 4-mile ring here. I've got instead some really, really tiny circles. I don't know if I've input that information incorrectly. Delete. Remember, the sim hasn't been shut down from the first flight, so sometimes on a second sector you can have issues. Now that's definitely not working if I re-enter that information. No idea why. That's unfortunate. I'm just going to have to keep my situation awareness at bay. Another flight sim Explain 11. You've seen my YouTube channel. I made very hard landings. That is why you've seen me before, and I've made donations as well. Thank you very much again. Another flight sim Explain 11. Yeah, I think you sent me a link to one of your videos that I had a look or something, but no, appreciate that. Thank you, and welcome on board as a member too. Cool. So yeah, we're going to follow this approach in, simulating sort of vectors. There's the transition. Look, 6,000 speed, max 180. But I'd very much guess you'd get vectors in Heathrow. Right, let's try and remember to do everything correctly now. 109.5. This street, these 2 sector days, when they're short, intense flights like this, they are exhausting. Like, it reminds me of being in the sim instructing. You're always chatting, always kind of instructing, especially when they're new, kind of explaining the basics and stuff. Let's go 13.6. But that's what the channel's all about. It keeps me fresh. It was nice today with the weather when I was preparing for this stream. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it, but I was looking at my ops manual, my operator, refreshing my knowledge on flying in these sort of conditions, the rules, how many times you can have an approach, sort of limitations. So it's good for me to do this, especially when I'm off. I've got a good friend of mine who's on the same contract. He's not looked at anything for two months or so, but he's going back to work around the same time as I. He's going to have to catch up with everything. So final approach track is set. Minimum's 277. That is set. Almost. There we are. Let's just get an update again on the weather in Heathrow. Refresh it in front of me. So latest METAR, which was 25 minutes ago, 250 at 20, gusting 32, so pretty windy still. QNH was 988, which you can preset there. I think all we've got left to do is load up the FMC. So yeah, you have to give credit to the ZIBO mod. Little few bugs in here, but remember, I've not shut the simulator down. It's been running this whole time. I remember in FSX Steam, if you were doing multiple flight sectors, it started getting a little bit buggy, a little bit glitchy. Oh no, we're not even at 200, are we? Well, let's do. What I'm going to do is 180 and 100, and we just use the existing wind now. It won't change too much. 267 at 93. Very unusual to have winds like that so low. Oh, just lost it. Ah, no return charts. Sorry, no, I'm losing it. 267 and 93. I see. I'm just using the instantaneous wind because that's pretty much what it will be at 180, and 100 will punch in as well. That is 265 at 65. I think where are we going? Mod's slowing down, it's approaching top of descent, I think. Doesn't really do that in reality, it kind of transitions smoothly to your deceleration speed. QNH was 988, which we set there. I just need to do the FMC, which doesn't make any difference. I've noticed too. Presetting that allows VNAV to recalculate your idle descent rate and go from there. Right, so briefing. Descent, we've checked the courses, we've checked the approach and arrival. You brief that with your first officer, checking everything along the way, making sure it's all good. Mr. Swedish Piano, thank you very much for the 20 Norwegian kroner. Just joined the stream, hope you had a great weekend. Thank you very much, Mr. Swedish Piano. I've had a very good weekend, and welcome aboard another live stream. I'm sure I've heard that name pop up before, and I'm glad you could make it on board this stream. We had a very interesting approach into Leeds, scraped in by the skin of our teeth, sort of buttered it in, and now we're about to attempt the same into Heathrow, so great time to join. Cool, so top of descent, let's imagine London is cleared to descend to flight level 150, level at Soppit. And we can push out into vent to just initiate 1,000 feet per minute. Landing performance then, well, we all know Heathrow, nice long runway. 12,008 feet, what's that, meters? A lot. And 3,900, 3,660, there we are. Let's try and vacate here at Alpha. And vacate to the right. Loads of fuel, look. Stuart Payne, thank you very much. Join us a member. Were you a member previously? I can't remember, but you've always donated and bought mugs. so thank you, Stuart Payne. If you were a member, welcome back. And if not, thank you for joining and welcome on board. Cool stuff. Yeah, look at the fuel. Heathrow 5.8, we needed 2 for Stansted, so again, plenty of time to go around and fly the mist if we need to. Let's just go flap 30, order brake 3, burning 400 kilos, 61.5. Again, I'll be methodically checking this in the OPT, making sure we're vacating at the correct point. But as we're in the descent, and I've been talking continuously for nearly 2 hours and 20 minutes, I'm going to have a little break and answer any questions you might have. Oh, look, it's finally stopped raining, so we can actually pop the engine anti-ice off. Oops. Cool. Heathrow scenery from Aerosoft, I think. I purchased it when we did, I think we did a stream from Heathrow to Frankfurt as well. I must remind you guys, I don't tell this enough, if you look at the video description below, you'll see, below the kind of description of the stream, you'll see 4 links. The third link down is a link to an interactive map where you can see everywhere I have streamed. It's quite useful if you're new to the channel. You click that and you can type in the 4-letter ICAO code, the 3-letter IATA code, and if, you know, I've been to your airport, it should show you where we've been. Every stream to date is on there. I update it post-stream. So if you're interested in that. Secondly, there's another link from, I'm trying to mention as many streams as I can, to something called SimWing Support. It's been launched by Dougal. It's where you can donate and help. It's in early days at the moment. It's the idea that you can donate and help someone that perhaps doesn't have the funds to be able to flight sim at home. But you can click the link there, SimWing Support, and find out a bit more information about that. It is an exciting new project. Right, Soppit, flight level 150 is coming up. We'll meet that restriction. Into Westcott. Got a decel here as well. Yeah, to 250 knots or below by Westcott. No problem, Dougal. Anytime. I'm trying to remember every stream. Excuse me. Right, well, don't try and speed up because we've got a speed limit coming up at Westcott, so it should go to decel and then start slowing down to 250 in a second. Not sure why it's going all the way up to 284, and we're getting higher profile, but that's because I need to wind down and start descending. Right, let's help her out a bit. Let's say we Alpaca 02, descend flight level 120, level change. I'm going to book 250 because we do have the speed restriction coming up at Westcott.
50, 40, 30.
Thank you very much to Daniel F, who's just donated £5. He says, thanks for the great stream. It's been a very up and down weekend for me. Here's a little something I would usually have spent on someone else. Well, Daniel F, I'm very sorry to hear you had a bit of a down part of the weekend, but I hope you're up at the moment and feeling good. Thanks for the donation, and I feel like you should have given it to someone else instead of me in that case, but that's very kind, and I hope my streams are providing some sort of respite for you and you're enjoying the content. But thank you very much for your generosity. Thank you. Cool, so yeah, getting a little bit high here. Track mile wise, we've got 5, 10, 15. I'd say we're on profile. I don't know if that's some sort of restriction. Yeah, we've got this flight level 70 restriction, which probably puts us a little bit low. So I'm just going to use a bit of speed brake here. I didn't really plan well the decel and the continuous descent there, so we're going to go 250 speed brake, try and recapture the profile. Yeah, actually, thank you for putting HMS Daring the Metar for Heathrow. I'll see what it's see what it is in the background. There you go, 250 at 20, gusting 32, 10k, few at 3,800, towering cumulus, 10 degrees, not too bad, even with a crosswind. If that was full crosswind, you're in limits, so it's okay. I have certainly landed worse, for real. Longcat alpacas are getting shaken up in the back. Yes, yes they are. So speed brakes out. And we'll continue this descent. As well, if you're just watching the stream as well, I must always stress, don't forget to thumbs up the video if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy watching. A Real World 737 captain who sort of knows roughly what he's doing in X-Men 11 and ZIBO mod and other aircraft. Don't forget to subscribe as well to keep up to date with the latest content. Right, we'll continue descent as well. Leveling off at 120. I want to get to Bovingdon at flight levels 70. Oops, I've got the speed brake out with thrust. That's a big no-no. I forgot we'd only set 120 there. So Alpaca 02, descend flight level 70. Level 11 DME from Bovingdon. So we'll get rid of that and we'll go on to the transition chart. So yeah, you can see there's minimum holding level. I've never seen that before. But yeah, we'll keep going to 70. Dr. McStuffins, great. Captain, greetings from Seattle. I appreciate wealth knowledge you provide. I wish I could have you on speed dial for questions I have foreseen. It was very kind. Fortunately not available. But if you are interested, we do have the members Discord where you are free to answer questions. Bit of a stream lag, HP Surf. Sorry, it's definitely been better because I have lowered the bit rate, but I don't know if anyone's been able to watch in 1080. I don't think so. I think it's just about good enough to watch in 720. So, Luton should be down there somewhere. I think that's Luton here. Yeah, there's Luton Airport. Echo Golf Golf Whiskey. George, you are watching in 1080. That is good to hear. Right, there's 170. Let's do a post-cruise check. So fuel, 4 pumps. We've got 6 tons on board. That's what I like to see, especially on days like this. Lights 50, are set. 40, AP's off. Pressurization 30, is set. Seatbelts on. Let's push recall. There we are. Before the post-cruise checks are complete. Thank you very much, Stuart Walsh, long-term member of mine. Thank you very much for another donation, £5. Treats for Jack for his birthday tomorrow. Good luck with the laddie. Well, thank you very much, Stuart, for the continued support and donation through Streamlabs, which is always beneficial. Thank you indeed. Very, very kind. Cool, so yeah, we're okay. Going down to 7-0 to meet this restriction. After that, we will continue to descend. We've got this decel point for 220. We're just going to keep it level change 250 just to get back onto profile. Oh Christ, Miss Mia, dear, you must be ridden. Thank you very much, Carl. Goodness me. Oh dear. How do I get this sort of stuff? I think it's all automated. My goodness. Right, there is London. Last time we went to London was in the Airbus into London City. That was an interesting stream about 4 or 5 streams ago. Yeah, we're good. We're in limits here, so we have to go around. We will happily fly another approach unless the weather drastically doesn't improve. But you can see, look at this. Flight level 80, 70 knots. That is unusual. Callum Noble, good question. No idea. I think they're bots. They're like automated bots.
1,000 to go.
Right, let's go down 3,500 feet on the QNH of 988. Let's put us back on VNAV profile, look, because it doesn't update. 988 is set, passing 6,800, 3,500 feet. No flag, standby, altimeter set. Stowed to speed brake now. We'll just keep it going down at 250 knots until we approach the decel point. Max 180 at this point as well, so we'll need to bring the speed back. But I might just keep high speed for a little bit longer. Well, let's imagine ATC said, okay, Alpaca 02, you'll never hear this in Heathrow, but you are number 1. Free speed, get rid of the 180. Can happen sometimes, unlike an airport like Heathrow, though. Fergus Duffy's donated €5.49. Thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate your streams. I have a strong whiskey and strapped in back here. I have faith, no doubt you'll grease it. Thank you very much, Fergus Duffy. Yeah, you'll need a few whiskies for this approach, that's for sure. Oh god, if you need whiskies for this approach, you need something even a little stronger than the approach into Leeds. I remember drinking I remember for my 21st birthday, one of my flatmates, he bought me a shot of something called Ray Nephews. God, it made me throw that stuff really strong. Ray Nephews, but horrible spirit drink. Right, yeah, anyway, we should probably definitely start slowing down, and I should start concentrating on what's going on. Right, it's raining 10 degrees. Put start stations on continuous. Engine anti-ice any warmer, you won't want the engine anti-ice on. Just a bit of speed brake slow down. I've not been concentrating on this approach at all. There we are over London. See any of the landmarks? There's the Thames. Vertical speed, just going to go to 500 feet per minute. So 9 degrees, definitely want the engine anti-ice on. And we'll can now select flap 1 on base, around 185. You want to be around 180 on base. Level change. Flap 5. Just going to actually speed up slightly. This headwind though, look at that, 62 knots. That's really going to help with the glide slope. You'll have no problem capturing that today. Our ground speed around 160 knots is what it should be, around 2 or 3 miles. Right, we'll go vertical speed now. Bring back the flap 5 speed, that's checked. Let's wind in around 1,000 feet per minute. Oh, we're missing all of London here. There we are, there is the Thames. I think all the nice bits are behind us. Right, oh, should arm the approach now. And yep, we're managed being cleared down at 2,500 feet. And maintain present heading, cleared approach. Again, I'm kind of self-positioning, acting with ATC, the whole lot here. Cool. I haven't done any flybys or views like this today. Been so busy. There we are. Did I approach? I think I did. I hope I did. We didn't. About to go through the localizer.
1,000
approach. Checked. There we are. Localizer, glide slope capture. Runway heading 270. Why is the vertical speed window showing plus 100? I have absolutely no idea. That is a bug. Missed approach altitude is going to 3,000 feet. That is set. Happy days. Right, surface wind. Well, right now, look, 53 knots. Our ground speed's down to 120. Lovely day. Definitely. Did I do the flaps? I didn't. Did I? I did. Flap 30. Yeah, final approach speed are going to be plus 15 knots again. Oh, a little bit slow here. Norbert 6099, I would highly recommend looking into True Earth by Orbex. It would make looking outside the windows in the UK much more pleasurable. Something I've considered, Norbert, I'm getting a bit low on hard disk space. I've got all my ortho on a external drive, about 7 terabytes, and only about 100 gig left, but I have to do a lot of rearranging of my scenery when I'm streaming these days, but no, I'm quite happy with the ortho. Especially as in the UK you're under cloud most of the time, but thanks for the consideration. 964 people watching, crazy guys. Thank you very much everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up, subscribe to keep up to date with the content. I'll try my best to butter it in, but we're all stabilised here, looking so far so good. Well, imagine we've got our landing clearance, the engine anti-ice can come off as well. We'll leave that on continuous as we're coming into land. But yeah, at the moment the wind's down the runway. Just got the latest wind from Heathrow 10 minutes ago, 250 at 21, gusting 31. So it's a slight crosswind from the left, very similar to Leeds really, well not quite as strong, but the crosswind's from the same direction at least. There we are. Get down a little bit closer. With this headwind we can get away with configuring around 4 miles. It is sometimes worthwhile to get stabilised at your final approach speed nice and early as well. HMS Daring, is this live weather? Yes, it is. You can see it's already winds shearing, well, the changing direction slightly. Let's start configuring now. I was going to wait a bit later, but anyway, gear down, flap 15, match speed, landing checklist, flap start switch is continuous, recall check, speed brake on, green light, landing gear, down to 3 green, auto brake is set to 3, and flap 30, leaving the speed where it is. I shall just reduce it slightly. I'm overriding the auto throttle here. That's me, that is normal, be prepared to do it. Look at the wind, look, it's decreased from 30 to 20 knots, so massively increased the headwind. So it's sort of like a little bit of wind shear really, not too strong, but you see the wind changes, the airspeed changes, so it's like a very, very gentle shear we're getting at the moment. Flaps 30 green light, lights are on, overriding the auto throttle, keep an eye on this, do not expect the auto throttle to be able to deal with this. Right, check's complete. Screw it, let's go guys, disconnecting, get myself in a decent position. I'm just going to zoom in slightly, there we are. So 24 knots instantaneous wind at the aircraft. It should be 250 21, gusting 31. So he's just keeping, look at that, look at the speed trend vector, you know, keeping on top of that. That's a really nice feature of the PFD. but on the 7-3, but you have to keep looking outside as well.
7 left.
That's checked. It's not as bad as Leeds. Not as bad as Leeds. Speed's a little bit high, so just taking a bit of thrust off. Don't take too much. They're stabilised at 500 feet. Wind direction's changing in the sim slightly. Adding thrust because the speed's coming low. And it's gusting back up again. Thank you very much, said individual. I'll
10,
confirm and say thanks shortly. It's getting a little bit gustier now.
approaching minimum.
So add that thrust. Don't let the speed get too low. Very important. Keep it in that limit between VRF plus 20. Keep descending now.
Minimums.
Continue. Looking okay. A little bit high here, but not too much to worry about. Just don't fight it. Keep gently making those inputs.
50,
A
40,
bit high.
30,
Okay, check. Close.
10.
Oh, it's a floater. This is definitely a floater. Oh, even harder than Leeds. Unbelievable. Speed breaks up. Reverses. It's going idle, reverse. Oh, dear. Oh, that was a real float at the end. 100 knots.
80 knots.
There's 80 knots. Manual braking. 60 knots. We stow the reverses, and we'll take this exit here on the right. That was ooh, crikey, that's not as high speed as I thought it was. That was very misjudged by me. There we are. Yeah, that floated and then thumped down on the gear. I can't believe that. It wasn't as good as landing in Leeds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Heathrow. Local time is 10:34 in the evening, 10:34 in the simulator, in the morning. Yes, here we are, safely down after two very entertaining flights. Tiring flights, but entertaining. Right, where are we going? Oh look, there's a stand right in front of me. I think we'll go for that one, guys. Absolutely no idea where we should be parking in Alpaca 01, but I don't even know what terminal this is. But that is the beauty of not having to worry about that sim. You can just taxi wherever you like. But yeah, before landing in an airport like this, you have a very rough idea, well, a very good idea usually, of where you'd expect to land, and you'd brief your taxi routing accordingly. Right, APU's coming up. Auto, steady. And we'll take the next on the left, just give the chance for the APU to boot up. Transponder to out off, trim to 4 units. Order rate to RTO. 3,100, flight directors off. And just the probes and the weather radar, which I always forget. And we'll take the next stand here on the left. James MP, very critical, poor from your normal greasy standards. It was. No excuses either. Well, a bit of an excuse. The wind was quite gusty, but I came over the landing rate too shallow. I was doing around 500 feet per minute, I reckon. Not as quick as I wanted to, and I think I checked as if I was going a little bit quicker, which is why we ballooned. Oh, we've got Brooklyn here now. Oh, thanks, Brooklyn. Bugger off. What are these stupid channels that appear? Unbelievable. Right, we'll take this stand here. There we are, APU's on the bus. Have I got any guidance here? I haven't, unfortunately. 303. I have no idea what stand this is, or where we are in Heathrow. But it was certainly one of the closest. No marshal it, so I'll use the handy ground signs myself. There we are. Right on the money, look. Parking brake is set. There we are. 2 blues, 1 red. Engines are dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Heathrow for another on-time Alpaca Airways flight. We've made it nice and safely. I don't know why I pushed attend. It was just fun. Isolation valve we could open. We'll do the full shutdown flow now. So fuel pumps would come off. Window heat would come off. We've got ground power as well, which is pretty cool. Electric hydraulic pumps are off. Anti-collision light can come off now. Happy days. Tech log out. Fill in all the information. Call it a day. To the bar in the hotel with the crew. Fantastic, guys. Thank you very much for turning up in this Storm Ciara live stream. Really good fun. It was yeah, I can't believe we got into Leeds, to be fair. Probably didn't quite follow the exact rules regard to the max crosswind limit, but I don't know exactly what was going in the simulator. But we got in with the inputs we made. It was pretty good. Yeah, fantastic. Right, I just think I missed a donation on the approach or something, which I just want to say thanks to. It was from Syntac, donated $2. Thank you very much. I want to see a butter. It wasn't too buttery, Syntac. Sorry about that, but thank you very much for the donation. And I'm glad you enjoyed the video. And yes, next time I'll try a little bit better. But Leeds was we certainly buttered that one in for sure. Right, I think without further ado, we'll have a look at the replay and we'll wrap it up. We'll call it a day. Thank you very much for Explain11 for not crashing, being fully stable. It is good when it needs to be. And let's have a look at that not so buttery landing. It was okay, but I remember I came over the threshold a little bit shallow. I want to be doing around 700 feet per minute. I was only doing around 500 and I checked a little bit high. A bit low there. A little bit shallow. And you see that I checked way too high, and then I kind of like, I just neutralised the control column and just let it kind of flump down. So I checked about 10, 15 feet too high. So I should have just waited a little bit lower, but that's because I was coming over a lot shallower. So I checked there, look, and I was like, no, let's just hold the attitude. If that happens, just hold the attitude. Don't push the nose down, don't pitch it up, and it'll, as the aircraft slows down, it'll settle nicely in the touchdown zone. Let's have a little look from here. Yeah, not much for crosswinds, but we'll take it. Right on the money anyway. And there we are, a safe landing and arrival into London Heathrow. Fantastic. Guys, thank you very much for everyone that turned up in the live stream today. Oh, it's really nice. I've actually got, right now, it says 737 people watching. How apt. Fantastic. Lots of donations today, which I never ever expect or you know, ask for, but so thank you very much if you did donate and for the continued support. Everyone that signed up as a member, I'll catch up with you later on Discord as per usual. For those of you who just turned up for a chit chat, that's completely fine. Thanks for turning up. Just do me a big favour and give the video a thumbs up if you really enjoyed the content. I'm going to be busy at the beginning of this week, so maybe a stream next weekend. If something comes up sooner, I'll hopefully squeeze in some time with you, but thank you very much nonetheless. Guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're in the UK, I hope Storm Ciara doesn't cause any much disruption for you, and enjoy and have a safe week next week, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye for now.